So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is actually going to be a good little talk show. Hope you guys are enjoying, your evening, whatever you guys are doing, maybe Christmas shopping, whatever the case may be. Um, now, this special guest I'm about ready to bring in is definitely going to rock the foundation of this talk show. And with the chat and as well as everybody else, can't wait to introduce this man. I've been on his podcast, so it's time to return the favor. So, ladies and gentlemen, give a proper introduction to the man, JTV owner, Kevin Impact.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, CJ Mondo, man. Returning the favor, all this biblical talk, man. You starting to make me a little nervous. You put all this responsibility on me.
I mean, it's a pleasure, being a part of the City of Impact talk show and also being a part of JTV. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen tonight with this huge talk show. It's all about you. They got questions lined up. Let's see if they actually put them in the chat.
Well, while they're doing all that, it's for sure Kevin Impact came here to kick ass. We're going to kick ass together for sure. It's always a pleasure having you on the show. Definitely plan to have you back on City of Impact very, very soon, especially with the potential debut of yourself coming into JTV. And just a lot of projects that we are planning together, positive things that we're trying to do in the wake of a lot of drama that has been surrounding us in the car community that is very unnecessary, especially this close to New Year and during the holidays, which is just so childish and just such a waste of time. So I really hope that we're headed towards positive things. The relationship with you and I has been excellent, and I've been having a lot of fun, man. I appreciate it. A lot of good support. I
We got our
definitely got
first and Big John Bundy basically said, what's your favorite achievement in the call community? I guess that's toward you, Mr. Impact.
man. We're shooting right out the gate with that. Favorite achievement in the car community. Um, I think my favorite achievement in the car community is to be able to have um, sort of the position of being able to help people and to help build talent and to inspire people to be able to reach out. During these times, you know, I consider myself kind of a hero in a way, a superhero in a way that, with all respects to Stan Lee, who inspired me since I've been a kid. And Stan Lee went into our JTV Hall of Fame in our community of call because, you know, I truly believe that if it wasn't for Stan Lee, a lot of us wouldn't be in the wrestling community, because what he did with Marvel and the inspiration he put on the world, it's kind of like the same with myself, Kevin Impact and JTV Wrestling. So I'm inspired by him. And to be able to be a Stan Lee in the world of car would probably be my very best achievement, to be able to have that position and to be able to do good with it instead of abusing that position and trying to get back at others that you know would have no reason for me to come after them or anything. I've had a bad rap for many years of people who lied about me. Same with you, CJ. A lot of us who dealt with a lot of drama in car, and it's just a bunch of bullshit. And I'm not gonna go. It's like we said, it ain't gonna be a PG show, but I'm not looking to go into detail unless I'm asked. If you ask me to go into detail, I will. If those tuning in ask me to go into detail, I will. But uh, I'm keeping it professional as of now, and I've been around to be able to run a car promotion for those that do run one, have their own Efed, whatever you want to call it. It's a hard job, and not everybody can do it. And there's some people who have that position of power, and they don't belong there. you know, because they bring others down, and they absolutely destroy communities, no question about it. And I didn't get into this shit to do anything like that. You know, I got into this because I had my passion since I've been young, and I wanted to inspire. I wanted to tell stories. I wanted there to be um, a wrestling federation, if you will, a promotion out there that would give people opportunity and help build talent, and would be a platform where you wouldn't be afraid, and you wouldn't worry about speaking your mind, and instead of the car promoter putting his friends in a position of power, you know, instead the promoter would work with you and help you grow to become a main event star, to be a top talent, you know. Me and CJ have seen promotions out there, no names, you know, that center around their buddies and center around, you know, the toxic mentality of, I guess, favoritism and whatnot. And in wrestling, it shouldn't be that way. You know, if you have a community in wrestling, your mission should be to build everyone. It shouldn't be a specific group of people that are limited. You know what I mean? So, not to run too long with that question, and the answer, you know, that would be my achievement. My biggest achievement would be to have that responsibility over talent and do good with it and not abuse it. Shout out
Now,
to every.
question here by DJ Chaotic, Mr. Mike Burner is what I'm gonna call him. Get ready for another Mike Burner because this is going to be another big question that back to back here. Biggest rival in the call community by DJ.
I've had a few of them. Some you guys may know, some you guys may not. But this is a beautiful thing about call, that we get to connect. We get to go through the whole process of, hey, I didn't know that guy. You know, kind of like me. Like, to some of you guys, I'm this new character that you guys are getting to know now. Like, oh, who is this Kevin Impact guy? You know, and you know, you go from there. Um, I guess I would say that um, I've had a wrestling community for quite a while, and this is something that's was going on for me ever since the 90s. I'm an Attitude Era guy, you know, but we didn't really go worldwide until about SVR 2010. From that point on, I got the opportunity to meet a lot of people in the car community, and of course through the PlayStation, you know, because I wasn't. I mean, we did do the Xbox scene for 1 year in SVR '09, you know, but it was mostly PlayStation. Um, Biggest rival in the car community. You know, like I said, I mean, I've had several different rivals in my specific career in JTV wrestling that I enjoyed working with, from Corey Flash to Shendon. Um, you know, Seal family. Seal family is a group of brothers and nephews who are real life wrestlers in real life, kind of like Mondo. And of course, this is breaking kayfabe, but I mean, you know, what show are you watching? Kevin Impact is all about going off script, you know, and a lot of really talented people I got to meet in JTV wrestling. And if I had to pick one specific person in the car community who I would say is my biggest rival, and I had to think about it, would probably be also my best opponent. Up to date, I would have to say probably Mr. Amazing. I know there's a Mr. Amazing, I think in I don't know if it's in Ray's show or whatnot, or one of the communities, but I saw Mr. Amazing somewhere. Well, in JTV Wrestling, we also have a Mr. Amazing, and he's been Mr. Amazing since 2012, how I knew him. That was my last opponent that I wrestled at our WrestleMania show, which is called Ultimate Showdown. I wrestled him in my final match before I retired after all these years. And Several people have called for me to come back out of retirement. It means a lot. I don't take myself as serious as a lot of people do, but I definitely take my character serious, if that makes sense. So I always try to give you 110%, you know. And this guy, Mr. Amazing, if you don't know him, and you get the opportunity to check out our channel, you know, hashtag JTV Wrestling, you check us out and you get to see me and him wrestle and you get to watch his matches on there. You're gonna realize that you found an excellent PvP called pro wrestler. You know, a lot of my people, men and women that we have in JTV, are excellent talent, amazing talent. Mark Bannon, Dan Rapture, Amber Rocks, you know, all the guys in BKS. No kills, no damage. Is a guy who I go back with. You know, we built JTV, another great talent. You know, CJ Mondo is another one that's looking to do his thing. I got an opportunity to have a few meetings with him and watch him wrestle at the Performance Center. Excellent wrestler, which is not always easy to do because some guys do simulation and some guys are PvP. And there are people who have hatred for certain things. PvP people sometimes don't like simulated people and vice versa. I'm someone that I love everything. I love it all because I think it's beautiful. I think Call is beautiful. And the fact that all of us here listening to this and all of us that are enjoying our time in Call, we make this what it is. So we have to enjoy it and take care of her. You know what I mean? Call is, you know, it's kind of like our planet. You know, we have to take care of it. And a lot of people it kind of flies over their head and they kind of let their ego do the talking for them and the thinking for them as well. And you can't do that, you know. So a lot of talented people I've gotten to work with that I've enjoyed good wrestling matches with, and people that I've seen that are very talented. And like I said, it's not always hard to make that transition from simulation to PvP. Some people are just simulation actors, meaning they play the role. You know, you could be a Kevin Impact that's simulated, and you're someone that you don't play PvP. You talk a big game, but you can't really back it up because you're not a PvP person. You know, you could just play the character very well. And then there's people who do PvP who might not cut the best promo. You know what I mean? But simulation has its advantages because with simulation, you can take someone and make them a bona fide star because you can script it, you know, and you can take those baby steps towards building a household name. When you're in a PvP environment, it's sink or swim, right? You know what I mean? So you in a PvP environment, it's like you really have to bust your ass, work hard, grind, and try to craft your game and your elements inside the squared circle so that you can actually be efficient and have sufficient offense inside of the squared circle to be able to have success in the ring. So it's a beautiful thing. Call. God bless us and God bless Call for us having it. But Mr. Amazing would be my biggest rival. I think that was the question. Mr. Amazing would be my biggest rival up to date out of the many that I've wrestled. What's going on, Dan? I see you in the comments. Where are the other questions at? Who else is here? Or what else you guys want to talk about? We could talk about whatever you want. But I mean, CJ Mondo's the boss. You know what I mean? You got to go through him. He's the boss,
I mean,
man. This is
as long as it's asking questions, it's not negative, you can ask.
there you go.
I try to keep it all positive, so.
Yeah. If you want to know more about me, you can ask more about me, call related. If you want to ask about anything in the world of professional wrestling and outside of call, that's fine. What you know, he says he wants to keep it wrestling related, so you guys can have as much fun with that as you want. Have fun with it. We're here to take questions for sure. And make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. Mondo's killing it with his 1.42 thousand subscribers. Outstanding number. I mean, this man is just a monster. Okay. Do you want to, shall I read this question or do you want to read this question, Mondo? I don't know how
So
you want to
basically,
do.
yes, what's your favorite era of professional wrestling?
That's a very, very good question. Um, my favorite era of professional wrestling, if we're talking outside of call, would probably be the Attitude Era. And the reason why it would be the Attitude Era is because the Attitude Era was right in the middle. So there's people who think that the current era is the greatest era of all time. There are individuals who think the golden era back in the 80s is the greatest era of all time. But the Attitude Era is in the 90s and 2000s. And I believe in the current times that we're living in, I believe that it would be the very best era of professional wrestling because technology started rolling in. You know, we don't went from VHS to DVD, you know, to being able to stream things and DVRs and whatnot. And, you know, we really made a transition from the 90s to the 2000s to the modern era. And we saw a lot of big names come out of that Attitude Era for sure. But there were big names before that. And I'm willing to show some respect to this era and say there's been several names that have come out of this era. Um, Not many, but you have a lot of talented people that are on there right now that are great wrestlers and possess a certain amount of charisma and talent. Some of them are good on the mic, and I believe that more of them have to do research into the past, watch some of the old stuff, and try to find themselves as best as they can. If you take me, for example, I didn't find my character. It took time. You know, WrestleMania 2000 and WWF Warzone and No Mercy, you know, and some of our favorites when we was on Here Comes the Pain. I mean, how much love and passion we got for those games, you know? PS2, you know, the greatest system of all time for sure, you know. So the Attitude Era would definitely be my favorite era of professional wrestling.
Now, the real deal Alex King had a question here. He says, "Are you excited for the JTV Christmas Show WCW edition?" That's a good question.
Well, it's a good question, but I mean, I've stayed excited. I mean, we've been doing a lot of positive things. This is the reason why I've been trying to preach the peace in all the communities that we are in. I've tried to have conversations with several people who choose drama over love and respect and just passion. And so I've stayed excited about a lot of things. I've stayed happy about a lot of things, and I've been enjoying my run thus far in everything that I'm doing. It's exciting. I'm excited to be on this show today. You know, I'm lucky that I get to be here and talk with y'all and to be a guest on the show and to get this type of love and respect. But this type of love and respect is the same thing I'm going to give back to you. And that's all I want to give back to you. That passion, that love, that respect. I want you to feel goosebumps. That's my mission. That's my thirsty blood mission of what I want. I want to make all the hairs on your arms and legs stand up. That's what I feel my purpose in life is. So and shout out to King. You know, I got a lot of love for him. You know, me and him took time to build our friendship and relationship for several years, and he's a great guy. He's a hard worker, and he's a very supportive guy as well. You know, good family man. So I got a lot of respect for Jason King and JTV, Alex King to the Efed world. And am I excited for our WCW show? Absolutely. You know, we have WCW coming back on the 24th, Christmas Eve at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the JTV Wrestling Channel. It is a tribute to the fans from my era. It is a tribute to all WCW fans who didn't get to say goodbye to WCW the way they wanted. And we made a lot of phone calls to some of your favorites. You might want to check that out. CJ Mondo himself even has a surprise for you concerning that event. And I'm very excited about that event. I hope that you guys are going to tune in for it, enjoy it, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And hopefully we can continue to build momentum all together into a better call.
Now, another question that was asked is, what's your favorite moment of ECW?
Favorite moment of ECW? It's a tough question for me because I didn't get the opportunity coming up to spend as much time as I would have loved with ECW. A lot of my time spent with ECW back in the day was on the PlayStation. ECW Anarchy Rules, or that was the second one. It was ECW Hardcore Revolution was the first one, and then the second one was ECW Anarchy Rules, with a buddy of mine, No Kills No Damage, um, who is a name we're bringing up again. He and I built JTV from the ground up before anybody else walked in the old systems, and the old eras. And so a lot of time I spent with ECW, despite the fact that I got one glimpse of ECW one time, and I think it was Lance Storm holding up. He had a stalling suplex, and the stalling suplex, I think it's underrated. To be able to hold another human being up vertically in the air for 30, 40 seconds, I mean, 10 seconds is a long time. 5 seconds is a long time to hold someone up in the air. 5 seconds is a long time. 10 seconds is a long time for a fight. 30 seconds, is a long time for a fight. So the Stalin suplex is very impressive, and Lance Storm is an underrated guy. I don't remember who he was holding up, but I could remember seeing it. I don't know if it was a pay-per-view that a friend of mine had on or whatnot, but if I had to pick, uh, again, with my knowledge being off the video game, that's how I got to know New Jack and Lance Storm and Sabu and Rob Van Dam and Just Incredible, Roadkill and Francine and Don Marie, all these people. Uh, I got to know them through the game, and then I got to look into what ECW was. So for me, when I really got a hold of ECW, and this is very unfortunate what I'm about to say because of how late I got it, but at least I got it in time. At least I got it in time. And my only wish would have been that New Jack would have been there. But my favorite ECW moment is probably going to be when ECW came back for One Night Stand. And I say it's unfortunate again because I caught it late. I wish I can tell you that it was something else in the 90s. Unfortunately, I didn't get all of that. I didn't get the opportunity because I was channeling with Monday Nitro and WWF Raw. I was going back and forth with that and watching 90s television, which Jesus Christ, for anybody that watched 90s television, it was just such an amazing time. So I did a lot of that, and that's how I was able to build my education in psychology. That's part of it, not just for wrestling, but also for pop culture. Pop culture is something that I really like. So to answer the question, it would be that ECW One Night Stand. Reason why is because I never thought ECW would ever come back. I got to see Tommy Dreamer, Sandman there, not in person. I bought it on pay-per-view, and I got to see a lot of these people, and I was just blown away. And at the time, the WWE, in my opinion, was still cooking. You had a lot of really talented people on the roster that were holding the company down. John Cena and all these guys. Edge was still around doing his thing. Undertaker, Ric Flair, I believe, was still active. You had a lot of legends still around. But even then, there was still this stigma, this understanding that Monday Night Raw was pumping muscular guys that didn't have too much charisma or character. You know what I mean? And when you tune into the ECW was unique. It's at the Hammerstein Ballroom. You got a logo in the middle of the mat, which me and CJ Mondo and individuals have had conversation about how important and sacred the wrestling mat is. And that's why you don't put nothing on it. And I agree with that and I respect that. And me and CJ Mondo, CJ is still going. I stopped a couple years ago, but we've had a taste of the real professional wrestling world. We've been in there. We've tasted it. We've learned that wrestling is not fake. It's real. And everything that you do hurts. All the bumps that you take, it's for real. There's nothing fake about wrestling. It's just predetermined. And if you don't believe me and I'm full of shit, go ahead and try to find a local school and try it for yourself. You know what I mean? I spent 2 weeks bruised up just from training. Not even in the ring yet, just training. basic bumps and whatnot. 2 weeks recovering from bruising and bumps, you know. So uh nothing fake about wrestling, but that favorite moment is that ECW one night stand, seeing a lot of these old guys come back. It's just amazing. And if I'm not mistaken, even Terry Funk came back, man. God rest his soul, a true GOAT, you know. So that's my favorite ECW moment was one night stand in '05. And it was for my birthday in the month of June. So I'll leave it there so we can get some more questions. Pop those questions up. Let's have some fun. Let's see.
Alex King said that, what's your favorite wrestling moment of all time?
Oh man, that's a hard question. Favorite wrestling moment of all time. Wow. That's such a deep thought. My favorite wrestling moment of all time. Um, since it's such a difficult question for me to answer, I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna say what's coming from my heart. I'm gonna say that. I believe, damn, I thought of something else, so now I'm having a hard time. Okay, I'll say this. I'll say this before I change my answer. Oh man, shit. I did it again to myself. Um, if I had to pick, I'm gonna put two together. I'm gonna put two together just to cheat. I'm gonna put two together. I'm gonna mix two together as my favorites. I'm gonna say that. So two of my heroes. And before we went on the air, CJ was kind of messing with me a little bit here because I sent him a gift of Bret Hart because he was really hyped about this show, and he sent me a gift of Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was interesting because I feel like this guy has been studying me now. You know, he knows the type of characters that I'm into. So this guy obviously does his research, and I'm happy and I'm proud of him, by the way. You know, because he's really enjoying doing the podcast thing, and I'm happy to see that he's doing a real good job with it and using it for positive, not negative. But I have two that I'm going to put into one. So Bret the Hitman Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin are two of my heroes. They're two of the guys who inspired me to be Kevin Impact, to look at myself as larger than life, to try to put myself on a pedestal as Hulk Hogan and all these guys, and not try to be like a mid card or whatnot, to truly try to outshine and reach for the brass ring, to be a top star, you know, going back to the War Zone on PS1. So when Bret the Hitman Hart came back, I thought I would never see that. And he came back to wrestle Vince McMahon in a no holds barred match. And to me, it meant a lot as a Bret Hart fan to see that man come back. Didn't think he was going to get in the ring, got to see it. And I got to see Stone Cold Steve Austin come back. All of us did for when he took on Kevin Owens. And I thought it was a damn good match that they had, you know, as barbaric as both of those matches were. So I would have to note down those two moments as one for among my favorite of wrestling moments. I would say I will put those together in the same box for sure.
Now, Dan had a question here. What's your favorite moments in 2025, and are you ready for 2026?
I'm definitely ready for 2026, Dan, for sure. You know that. Top that, amigo. But what's my favorite moment in 2025 in terms of what? Professional wrestling in call or in real wrestling? You just specify that, and I'll be happy to answer that question however you want. Once he verifies, I'll answer it. Okay.
Question.
Okay, and call.
So,
So the question was, what's my favorite moments in 2025? Um, if you're talking about call, it's a very difficult question, Dan, because call's a big world. You know what I mean? Call is the passion and love of our lives. For some of us, call is something that you break up with your significant other and cause there. A lot of time I notice I went through two, three different relationships, and you know, people telling me, women telling me that, oh, you know, I'm always going to be here and stuff like that. And it'd be a crock of shit, you know. And then the next thing I know, Carl's there for me. CAW's there. You know, when my mother passed away, God rest her soul, and I lost a brother this year, God rest his soul. But when my mother went away the first time, Carl was one of those things that distracted me and helped me cope with the untimely death of my mother. You know, and my mom and my brother who passed away, who in the old JTV went by the ring name Player One. Um, they were two individuals who inspired me to do this, among many different things. Like I said, you know, I don't want to keep repeating myself. And CAW, once again, like I said, it's a blessing. We should all be thankful that we are a part of it. But it is a broad stage for a numberless amount of individuals. It's an infinite world of infinite talent, from Efed to PvP to highlight reel. I love it all. I love it all, you know, and I give respect even to the toxic promotions that are out there that are killing the industry, but are still striving and are still contributing in one form or another to the structure and development of Call. Um, it is a big planet that we are on that we created. So it's a tough question. Some of my favorite things that I've seen in 2025 and Call that I think have been positive, that I think has been great. Um, I got the opportunity, and I'm not here to blow smoke up nobody's ass. You know, I tell it like it is. This is just my thing, but um, I'm gonna say this because I was gonna say CJ Mondo and getting to know him and getting to come in contact with this channel and also Titan Nation Alliance, which I told him and I've told people, and I don't shy away from how I feel and think. I didn't know me and CJ Mondo was going to get along. I've known about him for many years. I've seen him. I just didn't know it would ever happen. Didn't know we would work together. You know, same as Chris Conscience many years ago. Same as a number of individuals that I thought I would never get the opportunity to work with them. You know, there's people that I got to talk to that I almost signed on a dotted line with JTV that I thought I was going to work with them because they were talented. One person I'm not going to name because he's toxic from my understanding, and I had heard something about him bullying someone some years back, and we kind of didn't pull the trigger on signing him. And someone else that I was working with, uh, we have had a meeting and we had all agreed. We had like 4 or 5 different promotions that we had agreed that we were going to announce the signing of this person to our organization, and we was going to keep it under wraps as a big surprise. And someone trying to undermine me decided to go and sign him on purpose and publish it publicly, you know, which was interesting. So you got a lot of snakes in CAW you got to be careful for. And it was fine because later on I found out that the individual was a pile of shit anyway, so it didn't matter. But definitely meeting CJ Mondo is something positive that I think happened in the call community this year for myself and him to come together. I mean, look at us right here on this show today. We're here preaching positive things. We're not coming on here bashing anybody, even though we can and we wouldn't be wrong if we did. But we're not doing that. We're trying to the speak of the gospel. We're trying to preach of the right things, the perfect things, the beauty of CAW. You know, so me and him coming in contact, I think is something important that happened in call this year. Something else that I'm gonna say is positive, even though um, Ray Nakai is dealing with the storm of drama in his mind that is too much for him to handle. And I really do hope he gets the medical help that he needs and the medical treatment that he deserves to get him on track. But Ray is choosing to be the way he's choosing to be. I'm not coming on here to bash him, but I think that him meeting Chris Conscience, I think it was this year, unless I introduced him last year, but I think it was this year that they got to know each other and Chris Conscience came over to his show. Um, I had opened a door for him to be able to do that for all the right reasons. Two legends in the car community is Chris Conscience and Ray Nakai, and I think it's a positive thing that those two characters got to meet because Ray Nakai is someone that's had FAM influence. FAM obviously is one of the biggest hotbeds in CAW history. I mean, they've been around forever. Before uh, when I was just starting out on YouTube, because our channel started out in 2014. I think it was like November or something like that. I could be wrong. That we debuted on YouTube. FAM had already been around. Cameron Bash, Eve Heron, Black Heron. We tried to sign Nick Virtual a while back, years ago, who was a talented, very creative guy. You know, a lot of those people in FAM, whether you love FAM or you hate it, they still made an impact, a huge impact in the car community, and they were able to, um, you know, I don't know how they feel about me. I have heard from the grapevine that there's some resentment for yours truly. I don't know why. I've not ever done business with FAM. They've not worked with me. So there would be no reason to have issues with me if we've never worked together. My advice to them and anyone else would be don't listen to anyone, get to know me, like CJ Mondo and a lot of these other people did before you judge me. But I don't have a problem with them. I have respect for them actually. And I have respect for all the communities. So I think that Ray Nakai and Chris Conscience getting to know each other is a positive thing. Conscience has been around since at least 2K14 that I saw him. It may be before that, but I saw him around 2K14 and I met Ray in 2K16, in those respective years. And both of those two guys have had their impacts on call. Ray's had his impact through his community, and Conscious has had his impact through the Efeds he's been a part of and the knowledge that he's passed down. And I'm happy that I got to know him and work with him. So I think that's positive. That's two things right there. Um, I see JTV expanding. I see our platform growing. I see a lot of people wanting to sign with us, work with us. And I'm getting hit up by a lot of people showing love, telling me that I'm doing positive things, that we're doing a good job and whatnot, and that you know, you know, everything is just going great. So I'm happy that I could provide a platform where people feel comfortable and they can be somewhere where you don't have a lot of this toxic drama that you're seeing in a lot of these other places, and you get to just have fun. It's about the game. It's about being able to explain and showcase your talent and your character for you to be able to be yourself and not to go somewhere where somebody's going to tell you can't do this, you can't say that, or we're going to kick you out, we're going to ban you, none of that. you know you work with me, you could tell me whatever you want. I'm willing to work with you, listen to you, and my job is not to tell you what to do. My job is more to kind of help you grow into the character that I know a lot of people can be. So I think JTV coming up also is the third positive thing. um See a lot of my people in JTV growing. I see CJ Mondo growing, which makes me happy. I think that's positive. Um, I got the opportunity to meet DJ Chaotic. DJ Chaotic is a guy who's shown me nothing but respect thus far. He's from my neck of the woods out here, and showed me respect. I see him as someone positive that speaks it from the heart and speaks for real and shows respect to a lot of people. And him and CJ Mondo are two guys that the reason I take them serious is because the way they speak and carry themselves. If you carry yourself like a man, I'm gonna treat you like a gentleman. I met promoters in the past that I worked with that I treated that way, and then in time they expose themselves as fake pieces of shit. You know what I mean? And I don't appreciate it, and it's comedic. CJ Mondo, DJ Chaotic, two of those guys, along with uh, Enrique. I don't know what you guys call him in the Efed world, who runs AHK.
That'd be Ricky
Treat
Armstrong was HKW
Ricky
led.
Ricky Armstrong. There you go. Thank you for that. Showing me nothing but respect ever since they brought me into their chat. These are grown men who are doing it for the culture. These are the type of people I want to be around. These are the type of people that we can build better for call. This is what it's all about. Not these weirdos that are on call, not these pedophiles who are lying about shit, that are enabling each other's friends, not these weirdos who are trying to steal your pictures and personal info, and just these psychopaths that are out to get you, out to expose you, out to make fake shit about you that you never did, say things that you never said. Like, that's not call. That's bullshit. This is called the stuff that we're trying to put back into the water supply of call. This is what it's all about. This is the real deal right here, just like Alex King, the real deal. So I like it. This is what I'm enjoying. Among a lot of the positive things that I'm seeing, these are some of the things that I'm saying that it gets me hyped, that I enjoy. Okay. And I'm seeing Daniel in the comments also for WWU. I got the opportunity to talk to him as well. I think he's also a positive guy who's also dealing with another weirdo who, like CJ Mondo said, and like I'm saying, and I agree with him, and others, that we need to get rid of these people from call. They got to go. You know what I mean? So big shout out to Danny for all the stuff he's going through right now, dealing with some call drama, and definitely respect to him and his community because he's doing his stuff also. So those are some of the positive things I'm seeing to answer that question. Let's see what other questions you guys got.
So there's another guy that just GOCU 2019. He said, "What do you think is the most underrated call wrestler and someone you see having the future in the palm of their hand?"
I think we may have skipped over one question,
I think
but
it's
I'll answer.
Big Jump.
Yeah,
I'll get him next.
yeah. So I'll answer this question. I'll try to answer this question. I'll try. I mean, who do I think is the most underrated car wrestler? Someone who I see having the future in the palm of their hand. I mean, that's such a broad question, but it's a massive question to ask because again, cars is just such a massive place. You know what I mean? I could see a lot of people in my promotion even that are underrated, but they don't go underrated for too long because they don't go underrated for too long because usually I like to spend my time focusing on these individuals. Um, I think that there's a lot of talent in call that are underrated in the sense that they are in promotions where they have all this talent, all this charisma, and it's never going to be put to use because they're in the wrong place. And I'm not blowing smoke up my own alley going, oh, JTV is a place where you have to go. There's plenty of places that you can go where you can hone your craft. You know, all I'm saying is that there are individuals out there who are talented for sure that I know or don't know about that they exist who deserve better but don't give themselves better because they stay in toxic efeds or they're loyal to someone that they shouldn't be loyal to, and all these people are going to do is bring them down. And just to make sure, I am not taking no shots at Ray when I say that. I just want to establish that I'm not taking shots at Ray when I'm saying that. I'm speaking in general. um and you see a lot of that. One guy that I wanted to sign that I thought was kind of interesting. Do I remember his name? Yeah, I do remember his name. You guys might know him. I think he's a big deal. John Awesome, or Johnny Awesome. John Awesome. John Awesome is a guy who is like in 3 dub or something like that. And we've been trying to sign him for a little bit, but he's in a lot of E-Feds, and I think he should stop taking those places serious, and he should have took JTV serious. That's an offer that he should have took serious. You know what I mean? I would be remiss if I didn't mention Gorilla Cruz as someone who, in a way, is underrated, but underrated in the sense that he's so talented and charismatic that it's unfortunate that his health kicks the shit out of him so much. You know, that he can't even be JTV world champion because of all the heart attacks and all the problems he goes through. And it's very unfortunate because he's Gorilla Cruz character is amazing. Um, and if this person is the Maverick that I'm thinking of, you're underrated to yourself. If you are who I think you are, you're underrated to yourself because you've held yourself back from your true potential. And I think that next year is the time when you need to rise up out of the darkness and become something new once again. You know, if this is the Maverick that I'm thinking of, this guy, I mean, he's got it all. The look, the charisma, the talent, you know, he's just so many things I guess he's allowed in life to get in his way that he shouldn't. But you know, you got to push and say W. You got to work hard. I didn't get to where I'm at if I didn't bust my ass. You know what I mean? I didn't a lot. I go back to community creations, and when I was in community creations before YouTube, I saw a lot of promotions that grouped up together, and I knew it wasn't going to work. A promotion, um, going back to Ray Geddes, someone that he knows by the name of Stupid Monk, the account name. We knew him since back in the day. This is someone who ran a show called SPW, I think it was back in the day, in the community days of CC. You know what I mean? Long story short, because we got questions to get to. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of underrated people, man. You know, a lot out there for me. I don't even know that I even have the time to cover not even the beginning of so many underrated people, you know. And if you're listening to this and you're out there, you might be underrated, you know. So it's a broad question. All right, so we're gonna get back to Big John Bundy now, right?
He said, "What would make WWE 2K26 make the game better?"
I think that's something that 2K needs to explore in depth, in great depth. I think that the game is very outdated. I know that sounds crazy me saying that, but I really do feel that way. The game is outdated, and we need to try to come to 2026. What do I mean by that? I find it hard to believe that at this stage in the game, we still don't have 10 person match, and that they aren't cameramen at ringside and wires and people taking pictures. You know, not just the big camera, but also you know, the staff. I mean, you got some people at ringside, but I believe that the backstage area should be respected more. We should have a more in-depth backstage area, a massive backstage area. If you wanted to not get boring, I say make it customizable. Um, there's a handful of different things that I think would make the game much better for sure. You know, I think we need a lot more custom slots for sure. You know, 100 slots, create a character is not enough. We have 20 creative video slots. How do we have 20 creative video slots and you have 80 other wrestlers that you have to attend to? You know, who throws a picnic uh, for 100 people and only cook for 5? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So um, I think that there's a lot of things that they can expand on. I think that people have asked for some sort of a story mode. You know, I'm seeing career mode, story mode that I think they could go back to free roam, but I think it should be free roam where, you know, I mean, I used to think that we needed a free roam to where it's like kind of like GTA. You can get in the car, you can go to the gym and work out and stuff like that. I used to think that, but to be honest with you, at this point, I just think it'll be boring. I think what they need to do is they need to focus on my island and they need to make it to where it's free roam to where you can invite people, you can walk around, You can get into vehicles. You can go to the gym. Imagine being able to invite your friends online, and you can go into a lobby that's public, like my island, and you can free roam, and you can travel, and you can go into stores, kind of like my island, but more with more options. You know what I mean? It'll just make it more better. You know what I mean? You can get in the ring, you can train with your friend, with people. Like that free roam world is missing in 2K, and I just don't know why they don't see it. I think that the beta piece is there, the component is there with my island, but you need to expand on it. You know what I mean? My island was a good concept on paper, and they just didn't do much with it. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of pointless roaming around and little stories that nobody really gives a shit about. You know what I mean? Like, give us the good stuff. Give us a lot of customization. Allow us to have matches. If we want to have a burning casket inside of a Hell in a Cell, let us do that. If we want to put a steel cage on top of a Hell in a Cell, let us do that. You know what I mean? Another thing is shout out to all the modders on CC and on PC, man. They're out here doing the real work that 2K should be doing. Then they want to get mad and just ban these people. These guys are your work is cut out for you with these modders because they are making stuff that are not in the game. Give us the opportunity to make the Cow Palace. Give us the opportunity to make these great looking arenas, these indie arenas, these buildings that you could do all this stuff. You know what I mean? It'll just make it fun. Imagine making that Philly arena for ECW. You could pull up that garage door and just go through it, the service door, and then you're outside in Philly in the street fighting. It's a good time. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that they have to expand on that I think will make the game amazing, and that's it. One being bring back championships for online. Why is it that we let that shit go? I think it was like after I remember it being in '07. Some of you guys might remember it in '08, '09. I'm not sure. But championships online, Jesus Christ, it's a must. What are you doing? Instead, we waste time updating Nikki Bella. Who gives a fuck about Nikki Bella? Get this fucking bum off TV. Focus on the fucking game. Nobody give a shit about no damn Nikki Bella. Wasting time updating her hair. Like, what a waste of time. Give us an experience that's gonna blow us away. You know? And I can go on and on with that, but we don't got enough time. So what else we got? What other questions?
Maverick JTV Superstar said, "What has been your favorite JTV show in the past several years?"
Favorite JTV show in the last several years? I mean, there's been a lot. There's been a lot of them where we've been, in my opinion, breaking new records. The bringing ECW back, I think, was special for a lot of people. A little over 2 years ago. It was special to me. I got to work with. I always love doing commentary with Chris Conscience. That to me is like, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Ric Flair at the bar. That's what that is for me. It's a good time. And calling some of those shows is always fun for me. Watching them, watching the talent. I think this WCW show is going to be amazing. The last Ultimate Showdown was something special because we went 8 hours. 8 hours. When I was putting that together, I just thought I'm out of my mind. But somehow I had the confidence that it feels like an all-day event. It's kind of like going to Six Flags or something, and you're there all day. So I thought I could make it work, and I did. It didn't flop. It was a huge success for JTV. Not many people were complaining. As a matter of fact, nobody really was complaining. You know, um, and it was well enjoyed. It was an amazing recovery from the previous showdown, and which was not bad. We just had a really shitty main event, and I feel like everything we've been doing has worked out. Retro Slam, which is a show that we put together that is focused around sort of pop culture, uh, where action figures, if you will, come to life, is something special as well that has worked out. A lot of the JTV shows, we've decided to take the approach of, you know, we don't have brands. I mean, they're brands, but we don't have a draft or a brand extension. So we have a shit ton of talent that can go anywhere. And we definitely present our talent in a way to where it's top main event talent, and you can feel it when you watch it and you enjoy it. And when you have so much top talent like that, you have to distribute them throughout your shows. And all the shows that we got, I just feel like they've been delivering. So all these shows that have been coming out, I've been enjoying them. It's been fun. The drama that we go through, that I've been put through, I don't enjoy. You know, some of the fake people that I meet, I don't enjoy that. But I mean, a lot of the shows I've enjoyed. Showdown. I mean, like I said, a lot of those shows I've enjoyed.
Now, Maverick Superstar also asked, what has been your favorite Call feud you've been able to see play out JTV or anywhere?
Um, I think there's been several of them that I think have been nice cinema. I didn't enjoy the match that I had with Shendon, the BKS leader, um, because of my part. I'm the one that screwed that match up. It wasn't him. But I thought we had a good story build up. Maverick is in the comments. I think his build as the leader of the Freak Show, I think, has been amazing. He got his own pay per view. It was almost like what they did with Hulk Hogan and No Holds Barred. And we did a pay per view that was almost like a movie. It wasn't like a wrestling show. It was like a movie. The camera was tilted and whatnot, and it had music to it. It was like a music video type. So you don't see a lot of that in wrestling, or I don't see a lot of it in Call. So it was something different we did, and it was centered around him and his character because he's kind of like our Joker. And I thought that was amazing. And we actually discovered Jelly Roll. We were the first ones who used the Jelly Roll track, Dead Man Walking, put him on a pedestal. Next thing you know, he goes viral out of nowhere. I'm over here listening to Jelly Roll at night, and he's my favorite, one of my favorite singers slash rappers, underground guy. And the next thing I know, sometime after the JTV show dropped Rage in the Cage with Jelly Roll's Dead Man Walking track on it, he goes fucking viral. Excuse my language, He goes viral, and it's just like, whoa, and I almost hated him after, because it's like, man, like, we discovered him before he went viral, which was pretty dope. And that's on record, which can be proven. So, you know what I mean? And so that was amazing for sure. I think the Corey Flash Shendon thing worked out. It was very personal. It was pretty good. You know what I mean? We found a way to make it work. The BKS storyline is something that has gotten over really, really good. It's gotten us good ratings and has transitioned into this pop culture of CAW. And it's good to see the Scar Brotherhood is still over. It's unfortunate that someone involved with them is diminishing their legacy with that. But this person is always going to be a legend in my eyes. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of different things, stories that have gone on, rivalries that I think have worked out. I think that the Three-Way Deadlock faction is something else that's gotten over good. Their little story has been compelling, in my opinion. JTV, wise, I mean, of course, And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I invite you to check it all out on the channel for sure. You know, you see for yourself. That's what I tell people. You know, if someone says something is garbage, you know, you should always have an opinion on it. You should always see for yourself to see if it's true. You know, so I invite you. Um, there's so much talent on JTV. I have to even think about it. You know, but even Amber is another one that's been on the come up that has seen success and her story and there's so much talent. I have to continue thinking about it because there's so many of them. But there's a lot of different robberies that I like that I thought worked out, you know. Just to keep it at that. So Nick has a question, huh?
Yep, Nick finally he said, who in JTV had the most likely draw, past or present? You can even say me, Nick. Impact.
Who in JTV had likely the most draw past the present? Continue to say me and Pat. Who has the most draw? Um, I'm not really sure I understand the question. Who has the most draw? I mean, what do you mean by that? Most compelling character, or who do I think draws the biggest ratings, or specify that question? Maybe we'll go to another question like he's specifying. What's going on, everybody? Yeah, I saw your comment, Amber, with brief link.
So the question I'm going to ask here, what do
Okay.
you think about ECW was to return? What would be your thoughts on that?
Say that one more time because you cut out a bit.
What do you think about if ECW was to return?
I mean, if ECW came back, number one for me, it would be very emotional because, um, despite the fact that you're more of an ECW fan than I am, I grew close to ECW because years later, after One Night Stand, not even before One Night Stand, I started watching ECW on the WWE network when it was around. And I knew about ECW and I had seen ECW videos and some shows sometimes and I had rented One Night Stand in '05 and then the year after in '06 when they came back to do it again, I rented it again on pay-per-view. And ECW is one of my favorite brands, for sure. One of my favorite brands. So rebellious, so compelling, edgy. You know, they were very responsible for the Attitude Era. It wasn't just Vince McMahon, Vince Russo, some of these other guys. It was ECW who was responsible for the Attitude Era. And they had that edginess, you know what I mean? Brian Pillman with his balls out, you know, Sandman. I mean, what a great character, you know, and people might argue, people could argue that he was generic. Sandman was badass. The you know the Metallica, the cane, the smoking, the beer can over the head. Like he's definitely one of my favorites who inspired me for sure. No Sandman, no Kevin Impact. You know, so um New Jack, of course, all these people. So it would be very emotional if ECW came back. I mean, it wouldn't work anymore. You know, 8, 10 years ago, they could do it when Vince McMahon brought them back. They could have done it. And I think it would have been great, but it wouldn't have lasted. And the reason why it wouldn't have lasted is because we already headed towards a soft, delicate society. So ECW couldn't be ECW after some time because ECW came back in like '05 and then they brought it back on TV in '06, if I'm not mistaken. And it was a great brand. ECW on Tuesdays, the new breed was so good that I stopped watching Raw and SmackDown. I would just come out of school or work and I'll go right to watch an ECW. Tuesdays. That's it. That's all I wanted to watch. So they had it. They had all these guys, Tony Mamalu, Little Guido, Roadkill, Francine was there. Um Electra, not Electra, I can't remember her name. Oh well. But you had a lot of talented people that were there. And I felt like Marcus Corvon, who went as Monty Brown in TNA, was a great asset. Kevin Thorne was a great asset to the new breed. A lot of people that were great. Ariel with him was great. A lot of them was amazing. Test looked like a beast when he was on there. I like DCW. The new breed was probably underrated, but it was killed off by Vince McMahon because the organicness that came from that product, Vince he murdered it. He took it from the dope arenas to the ECW logo on the mat to looking like Raw and SmackDown. The ring looked generic, and then Jesus Christ, whoever decided to make all the ropes in wrestling white. Jesus Christ, I'm sick of it. I hate white ropes now. They're everywhere. And he killed it. He killed it. I remember going on the website and looking at the ECW roster, and it would be like seven. It would be like 8 people on the ECW roster, and like 3 of them are referees. And I start laughing. I'm like, what a joke, And um, I feel like they had good moments. Christian being ECW world champion and stuff like that. Jack Swagger was born, even though he was mediocre. But I do like Swagger, even though he's kind of trash and stuff like that. But if ECW came back today, it would be it would be it just wouldn't work out. We could probably phone up Shane Douglas. Sure. We could bring some of the guys back. I mean, but at this point, man, I am not ready for the Sandman to pass away. I saw Tommy Dreamer and the Dudley Boys live when I was at TNA. It was the last wrestling show that I went to. It was their 1,000 episode or whatever it is, 2,000 episode, whatever. I was there. Tommy Dreamer was right next to me, and I enjoyed it. Gail Kim, Mickey James, saw all these talented people. I'm not ready for them to go away. You know what I mean? I got to meet Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff and shake hands with him, and he was great to me. You know what I mean? Now he's gone. You know, and I love our legends. Love our legends. It's very hard for me when they go away. New Jack going away is hard for me. Iron Sheik going away is hard for me. So ECW coming back would be a disaster. It'd be hard, for sure. What other questions we got? What the hell is that? Kelly's on the screen.
Yeah. Speaking about legends of ECW, this was one of them that she was the Pope dancer.
Okay. Yeah, the expose, right?
Yep, the expose.
She did good. Oh, she signed your autograph. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did good with the expose. I give Kelly respect. I give her respect. Divas champion or not, I give her respect because she found a way to make things work for her. You know what I mean? And she was able to get over. She definitely got a lot. She got over a lot better than Nikki Bella. That's for damn sure. But what other questions we got? I think Nick's corrected his question. Nick Kaikan or someone else.
Nick had the question. I mean, who is the biggest draw, story and character-wise, from JTV, past or present?
I think that the biggest draw is Shendon, and you should all kick his ass. CJ Mondo, Nick Kaikan, Amber Rocks, all you guys that are tuning in, everything, you should all kick Shendon's ass. He's the biggest draw. You want to be the biggest draw, kick his ass. I think Amber is the biggest draw in the women's division. Amber's taking the women's division, and I mean, I'm not saying that just because she's in the comments. I mean, that's what I think. It's unfortunate, I don't think that's a positive thing. I think it's a positive thing for her. I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's a bad thing that she's taking the women's division by storm and she's holding it down. You know what I mean? But out of all the women, I mean, she's the one, and out of all the guys, Shendon's the guy. I mean, he's the draw. He, in my opinion, is like the biggest attraction because I told him for a long time that I was looking for someone like him. And before I retired, I was on the road for many, many years waiting for someone that was going to walk in and just prove to me that they can be on my level or higher. And I think that he's pushed the envelope higher. I think that he stepped up and has been the world heavyweight champion for about 3 years. I mean, and if you're not in JTV and you're listening to this right now and that interests you to go at this guy in PvP and you think you have what it takes to beat this guy, I mean, you're welcome to come down to the promotion and try it. I mean, he's been world heavyweight champion for about 3 years, this guy, Shendon. I lose count of how many days, he's kind of like on that Roman Reigns thing. And I believe that he's been the biggest attraction, but I believe in all of my JTV people as being the main attraction. I don't put one person over the other. In terms of the top brass ring guy, it's Shendon. In terms of draw, everybody, even CJ Mondo, everybody. All right, what else we got?
Back with Maverick, he said, "Can we get a JTV show in Kentucky?" That I would personally love to see that too. But that's a Kevin Impact question. I'm gonna turn it over to him.
Well, JTV is a touring brand. We're looking to go back to um, California, going to Amber's hometown for Mega Rush. We're going to be touring. We're going to be going to Canada for the pay-per-view Chemical Warfare, Toronto, and uh, Montreal, Quebec at the Bell Center, not Toronto. And we're gonna be going everywhere. So I would say it's a matter of time before we wind up in Kentucky to answer that question.
Nick Cayenne asked, "When does that happen?"
He asked what?
When is that happening? I think either the show in Kentucky or the pay-per-view or something.
Well, if you can specify what are you asking, when is it going to happen, Nick? I'll be happy to answer that question. Oh, this is an interesting thing from from James. I didn't know Amber was in WWU. I'm pretty sure Amber doesn't know that she was in WWU, but that's pretty dope. Real life. Little known fact: Amber was the first real life woman in WWU known as She Wolf. Okay. Yes. JTV.
Heritage
I got
Bank Center.
I got to wait on the boss man for me to answer questions. He's the boss. So okay, now I can answer. So JTV in Cincinnati Heritage Bank Center went. I don't know when we're going to be going back to Cincinnati, but when we do, one of the things we started doing since the last JTV show is we started posting again the locations that we're going to on the show. Like we started posting them to where it shows, and I always enjoyed that back in the Attitude Era when I would watch wrestling and they'd be like, "Oh, we're going to the Nassau Coliseum, badass Billy Gunn, Stone Cold, Steve Austin, The Rock, Deborah." I used to love that. They don't do shit like that no more. You know what I mean? And shit like that is missing from wrestling. Like that's the reason I don't watch that shit no more. So I wanted to bring back the whole we're going to this town thing. Uh, and we're gonna start doing that more often on the shows. So you'll be able to know in advance when we are gonna go to Cincinnati. But I'm not sure when we will be back at the Heritage Bank Center. But I keep you posted. Let's see what other comments we got. If you guys got comments, you can ask me whatever you want. Drop those comments while you still got time. We are here. We are live.
Another question I'm going to ask: what is your favorite WCW match? Which was World Championship Wrestling.
This is a question from you, Mondo.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Favorite WCW match in light of WCW coming back on Wednesday, Christmas Eve. What is my favorite WCW match that I like? I mean, it's very possible. I might be bullshitting when I say this, but I'm trying to think of it because I don't want to lie, you know. Favorite WCW match. It would probably be something like maybe Chris Benoit versus Bret Hart when they was doing the world title tournament. Maybe. Make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe for sure to this channel. And definitely show some love to JTV. Subscribe to us as well. Hashtag JTV. I'm going to put this in here for y'all right now in the comments, just in case you need it. All right, so I guess we got another question. I'm going to wait on the boss man.
Favorite WWE 2K creator, both community creator and content creator. That's what Nick Cayenne's asking.
Favorite WWE 2K creator, community creation. So, I mean, I know why he's asking this because he knows what I'm going to say. I mean, my two favorite content creators are obviously What's the Status and Marty M. There's a lot of them, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of really talented content creators that are out there that make really excellent cards. And I'm going to say Ray Geddes was one of them back in the day, in the old SVR days. He was my favorite back in the day. Before I signed him to a wrestling contract, he was my logo maker back in like SVR 2010. And something happened. Someone got in his ear and was like, "Oh, you should wrestle for JTV." So he came to me and was like, he wanted to wrestle, and I chuckled. That's cute. That's funny. And he's like, "Oh no, I'm serious. I want to wrestle, or I'm leaving." So after that, I kind of had no choice at that time because I was still brand building. And when you're brand building, you know how that is. You need these people. Now in JTV, it's like we don't really have to look for talent. Talent comes knocking on the door, says, "Let me in." You know, but back in the day, it wasn't like that. I had to really, you know, make sure everybody was happy, accommodate people, because if I didn't, that was it. So I'll give him a shout out for sure, JTV Hall of Famer, but definitely What's the Status and Marty M, my two favorites. Probably Marty more than What's because I feel like What's gotten soft. But I mean, he's making calls and stuff like that, and it, you know, what I mean, Seth Rollins 2019 or something like that. Like, I'm not gonna download none of that shit, you know. Like, for me to get something from What's, it's gotta be that I'm doing something like this WCW show, and I need a Sting or something, and I can get it from him, you know, something like that. But Marty be bringing that pressure when it comes to the mods. So mad love to him. And he actually speaks with me a little bit. Unlike What's the Status, who only talked to that jabroni Corey Flash, you know, because he got a platform and a blue checker mark that makes him look like you know, that face from Nickelodeon. Nick Jr. Y'all probably remember that. So what else y'all got?
Here's another one question. It is also about by me. What would you think making call a better place and a positive place?
I know you enjoying the shit out of this, huh, Mondo? That man having the time of his life. He's a kid in a candy store right now. So this is from you, right? This question. All right, let's see if we can get this back up there. Do I answer this question right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do I think would make call a better and positive place? I think I pretty much talked about this somewhere sometime. It's possible that I may have mentioned it when you came to the City of Impact podcast. It's possible, but I'm not sure. But I remember talking about it, and I'm going to say it again. We need to stop enabling people who are bringing harm to others. If you have friends in call who are bringing harm to others in call, and you know that they're bullying them, trying to ruin their lives, ruin their call career, stuff like that, get them kicked out of feds and communities and whatnot. Um, if you have any friend in general, and this applies to real life as well, and you know they're not a good person, you're enabling these people by staying with them. I have had friends of mine that I didn't have a problem with, but they had problems with other individuals in which they did really disgusting things. You know what I mean? And I completely will cut ties with these individuals because I'm not going to be an enabler. You have to be that person, you know. And in the past, using myself as an example, I have had relationships with people in call that I signed for wrestling contracts that I wanted to give opportunities to that I helped make stars in call. That if it was not for meeting me and being in JTV, nobody would know about it. Nobody would know about it. And I made them household names. And there have been people who have gone to some of these people in the past and had lied to them about it, or some drama would start. And then all of a sudden, they're looking for any excuse to make me the bad guy. It doesn't matter whether I'm right or wrong. It should matter, but it doesn't matter to them. The same applies to you and anybody else. If you know that someone is doing some fuck shit, cut them off, block them, and that's the beginning of call seeing a better day, a brighter day, because we have a lot of pedophiles in call, we got a lot of weirdos, got a lot of toxic people in call, a lot of enablers, a lot of liars, a lot of people who really have nothing else better to do but to try to bully other people and whatnot, and nobody's ever bullied me. That's an LOL with all caps. You ain't gonna bully me, but I'm a human being. I cry, I get hurt, I feel pain. I'm only human. Just because I believe that nobody is able to bully me because I don't allow nobody to bully me, it doesn't mean that I don't feel pain. You know what I mean? Everybody cries and everybody feels pain. It happens. And we need to try to just stop being enablers, and we need to be able to be big enough to cut people off. Some of the stuff I've been seeing Ricky doing in the chats, you, CJ Mondo, DJ Chaotic, where he's been preaching, myself, some other Efeds that I'm involved with, some other communities that I'm buddies with that I support because they do positive things, that are acting on shit and not letting it slide, not going, oh, it's not my problem. I can't stand people in call that go, oh, it's not my problem. That person's cool with me, so I'm not going to jump in. Don't be that person. I met a promoter one time, and I'm not going to say the person's name, but I met a promoter one time who I walked away from partnership and buddy because of just how worthless they are. There was a problem going on in that person's community, something with a pedophile. I spoke to him about it, and his attitude was, oh, well, it's not my problem. So I'm just and my thing to him was, it is your fucking problem because it's your community. So you got to fucking deal with it, you know. And I lost so much respect for that guy that I just stopped following his community, and I got out of there. I didn't wrestle in his community or nothing like that. I don't really wrestle in Efeds. I'm a promoter. I write shows and I book them and I produce them. But, I make friends with people that I've come to know, like it's always funny to me, makes me laugh when like people in the past, who have said, "What is JTV? Who am I?" You know what I mean? And they'll chuckle about it. But I mean, obviously, if you're someone and you're talking about me, I must be somebody, right? I must be somebody if you're talking about me and you're a made man. So that always made me laugh. But it is what it is. You just keep working hard. But we need to stop enabling people. I think that would make call healthier, stronger, better. You know what I mean? Cut out the people that are trying to destroy what we're trying to continue to build. Period.
I had to highlight this because Dan was absolutely right about this, and I want to get your intake on it too. He says, I also think all leads should get along without toxic drama. I agree with this.
If it was that easy, it would already happen. It's never gonna happen. All leagues are never gonna get along. Enough leagues, I think, make a difference. 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 leagues coming together, promotions coming together, making that type of impact, if you will, sending that type of message of peace and cut the fucking drama bullshit. It might make a difference because if these promotions come together and we have our own union, if you will, shout out to Jesse Ventura, our own unification, that is, promotions that come together for the better half and blacklist individuals who should not be in call. Yeah, I could see something different. I could see a different day in call, but it's too much egos in call. It's it's outside of the realm of possibility for that type of prosperity to exist in call because it's way too much egos. You have a lot of people that want to be the best. Um, I definitely work hard to be one of the best, but I recognize that there are promotions out there that could be better than me, people that write better than me, produce better than me, and I'm okay with that. A lot of people are not okay with that. They have a problem with that. They're jealous of individuals. I have haters. I have people jealous of me. Same with you, Mondo. People have hated on you for years. And a lot of you guys that are listening to this and watching go through the same thing. A lot of you have haters as well. It's always going to be that way. And so long as that exists, it's just not going to happen. It's nice to think about, but it's just impossible to reach that goal just because of the egos that are in call. It's impossible. It's like thinking that you can count everyone in the world, you know, like in one day. It's just you're not going to be able to because you would have to look in so many places. Even the census that keep track of world population and whatnot. All those numbers are not all. They're not accurate. I mean, they're always an estimate. So you know, peace and prosperity and cause sounds great. It can exist among many groups. Um, Another last thing I want to add to what I was saying earlier, definitely stop listening to people that are telling you shit about someone when you don't even know that person. I'm a victim of this time and time again. Promotions that are out there hating me, people that are out there hating me who don't even know me, never worked for me, never met me, never gamed with me, and they hate me. There was that one comment from that other individual who I addressed who was on the comments to this channel and who I address on my page that went as far as to say that the owner of JTV supports children getting hit by a bus or something like that. Never. I love kids. Never. I don't think that way, and I don't feel that way. It's a bunch of bullshit, and that's the reason why you need to do the get to know me kind of thing, because then you find out for sure. A lot of people that are in JTV and I'm sure CJ Mondo even heard from the grapevine that I was a piece of shit or toxic or something that somebody spewed up. And a lot of these people, as they get to know me and the years go by, they realize that it was just lies. You know what I mean? And I take a lot of pride in that because I don't like the toxic shit that's in CAW. I don't make it a habit to bring toxicity into CAW. I make it a habit to bring legends. JTV Factory creates legends. Even if they stab me in the back after some time and lie about me and say bullshit, I still do my part, and I still wish happy birthday to people and all kinds of stuff. So there you go. We got another question. What's this?
Maverick JTV Superstar said, "Who do you believe has the biggest gear and call? And also, who do you think has the best theme song in JTV?"
So he's asking both those questions.
Yep.
Uh, the best gear in call. I mean, I've seen a lot of people who look really dope. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like when wrestlers copy and paste. We see a lot of that. Mondo talked about some of that on his show that he put out on here. People copying shit off of CC and not giving credit to the creators, which I agree with him, by the way. I'm going on record. So if y'all didn't like what he said, count me in because I agree with him and what he said. I absolutely agree. You guys are full of shit for doing that. Um, and I've had some people with some of my talent go through that where it's like, they've had their stuff stolen off of CC. But I mean, best gear. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who look really, really dope, in my opinion, JTV wise and CAW wise. I mean, if I think, I think Ray Nakai. Ray Nakai is one of the best looking CAWs in call. You know what I mean? Black Heron back in the day was another one that I don't know if he's still around. I'm sure his character's still on the run. I thought he was dope. Eve Heron is another one that I think she looks great. Big name and call. She's done good with her character doing the Harley Quinn thing. Uh, my guys in JTV, Cerberus, Maverick, of course. Shendon is very unique with his outfit. Puts a lot of hard work into him. Uh, I got a massive roster once again, so I think Amber does good with her character. I think Ari does good with her character. I think Mark Bennon does good with his character. He always looks good. I think Dan Rapture started looking good. Uh, who else looks good? That that has really dope outfits.
Said the question can be past or present.
Well, I'm going there. You know what I mean? Uh, Mr. Amazing. Mr. Amazing is another one that always looks great. Marcus Holloway is another one that he found a way to make that outfit and look work for him. You know, um, these are JTV people that you may or may not know. For this channel right here, for those tuning in. Um, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, and I don't know that we have enough time to really focus on that. But there's a lot of them. The other question was like best theme song. I mean, there's a lot of that. And John Skinner's another one that always looks good with his outfits. Keith Ocean was another one that looked good with his outfits. That I enjoy. I thought I'm not gonna say that person's name. But there's been a lot of them. But theme music, I mean, again, there's a lot of them that it just works. Mr. Amazing, Shendon, BKS theme song to that faction. I mean, I picked that, so I can't really put that on there because that's not really fair. So I'll say Mr. Amazing Shendon. I'll say stuff that I didn't pick. Let's do that so that it's fair. Maverick is in the comments. He has a good theme song that he picked. Um, Mark Bennon, Dan Raps is another one. Good theme song that he picked. Lowrider, you guys might not know him. Former JTV World Champion. Cerberus is another one with a good entrance theme. Ryan Seal, who's one half of the World Tag Team Champions in JTV, another one with a good entrance theme that I like. That he picked, of course. Good theme songs. Good theme songs. Man, so many, I think. Both of those two questions, there's just so many of them, that I think are great. That just work. What else we got? Who's this?
DJ Product, I have to agree with this also. He says, I feel like it's too much egos in the call community, especially certain owners having favoritism.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And that favoritism is part of the problem too. That favoritism is what kills companies. It kills promotions because you have to understand, and this is the reason why in JTV I have Shendon running my league, JTV 19, because not only is there a second president, but you also have, like, he makes rules on that show, and I don't break them. You know what I mean? Unless I have to. I don't do it often. And then I have Conscience, Chris Third Eye, as my consummate. You know what I mean? He's really the boss. You know what I mean? And we just balance it. I don't make it to where I'm in control of everything to where like it's what I say or that's it. There's times I have to step in when I think something is really shitty, a really shitty idea, and I have to step in and go, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? But most of the time it's me listening to talent and it's me being open-minded. I have to be open-minded. If I go and say I'm gonna put the title on who I want to do what I want, like I'm not helping the community. You know what I mean? So that favoritism is what needs to stop also because that favoritism is cancer in CAW. If you run a promotion, and you make the rules, you can't abuse it. You can't abuse that. You have to be fair to everyone. You have to listen to everyone. You got to keep in mind this is not a fucking job. We're in this shit for fun. You have to be open minded. Listen to the people. Listen to what they're telling you. A lot of the time, you don't even have to book anything. Your work is cut out for you. This is real life GM mode. You know what I mean? They're doing it for you. You just have to listen to the talent, watch the talent closely, and it all falls into your lap. So there you go. Do you want me to answer this question?
Yep, that's pretty much by me. Who is your favorite NWA World Heavyweight Champion of all time?
Probably Ric Flair or Ricky Steamboat. I'll go with Ric Flair. I can't speak on NWA. I'm really I like to be honest. You know what I mean? I've only seen maybe a handful of NWA shows and whatnot, and some AWA. Just to get a taste of it to see. So I can't speak from experience, but from what I've seen, it would have to be out of Ric Flair or Ricky Steamboat, and I love their matches. What them other questions that what you guys got? All right. So what does call mean to myself, Kevin Impact? Call to me is probably my life's work because ever since I was a kid, I had imagination, and imagination was JTV, hence the name, and because that was my imagination. And professional wrestling is my passion, it's my life. It's given me so much. It's given me confidence to get a girlfriend. It's given me confidence to work out, get stronger. It's given me confidence to be a handsome son of a bitch. It's given me character in life, confidence to be a man, to be tough, to take on the world, if you will. And it's given me education, man, because wrestling to me, CAW, back when I was in school, when I was a kid, learning, I didn't know how to read. And I'm a Spanish guy. So I learned how to read in Spanish when I was in school from my teacher, Miss Rosario. May she rest in peace if she's no longer around. But to learn in English, I'm playing SmackDown 1 on the PS1 with no kills, no damage. And they have something on there called, I want to say it's season mode that they had. Season mode, you got storylines and cutscenes and text that you got to read and all this other stuff. And here I am getting jumped by the big boss man and Al Snow and all this stuff. So I learned how to read in English. Wrestling taught me that. It's given me so much of my life, you know. So through that same foundation, I was introduced to Carl. And Carl is one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to me because I've had the opportunity not just to enter the lives of a lot of people, which I've been telling Shandon and a lot of people, and I definitely want to share this message on here that is going to make all of you guys, your blood is going to run cold when you listen to this because it's true. What we're doing right here, all of us together, is we're leaving a legacy behind. And when we're not around no more, people are going to go back and listen and watch what we did. Goosebumps, right? But it's true. You have to keep that in mind. These videos are going to be viewed 20 years from now, 30, 40, 50. Who knows how long YouTube's going to be around long after we're gone. You got to think about that, ladies and gentlemen. You have to think about that. You're leaving a legacy behind. And that's how I started thinking some years ago. And that's when I had to change my attitude up. And that's the reason why I preach positivity. And I want to be like someone like DJ Chaotic. And I want to be like a CJ Mondo. And I want to be like a positive person like that, that fuck all that drama shit, you know. And sadly, to my JTV people, sadly, you don't want to hear it. Um, I don't want to say it, but it's true. My JTV book only has a few chapters left. It's got a few pages left. I am not very well. Um, I'm very beat up physically. It's taking a toll on me. My work, my what damage I've done to myself in my life, the impact that I've taken. I'm all beat up all over my body, you know, and I'm getting old. There's a few pages left on that book. A lot of people are not ready for it to close, and I'm not ready for it to close, but I am not going to live forever. We are not going to live forever. We need to continue loving each other. We need to continue having fun, making history, make the biggest impact that we possibly can. We need to stop the fucking bullshit. Come together, stop the fucking bullshit. And when I say come together with people that are worth it. I'm not saying come together with people that are going to bully you, bring you down, exploit you, take advantage of you, lie to you, be your friend right now, and then in 3 months they're stabbing you in the back. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying make peace with the people that are worth it, the right people.
and have fun in call. Enjoy it because you're contributing to call. Call is yours. It's mine. It belongs to all of you listening. This is our shit. This is ours. It belonged to us. We made it famous. We are the celebrities and the stars of call. CAW. We made it famous. Take care of it. Enjoy it. Make it grow abundantly, you know, because we're not going to be here forever. You know, just enjoy it. Um, and you know, I went so deep into that thought, I even forgot what the hell I was saying. But I'm answering the question of call. You know what it means to me, that it's special to me because it's something that I've contributed to, that I help grow, and I've entered a lot of people's lives, and I know it's going to be very hard when I close the JTV book. God protect me and God bless me that I live a very, very long time. I plan to continue my work and call long after I've closed the door on JTV. I have plans, but you know, it is some call is something for all of us that it's limited. It's only there for a little bit of time. That's why there shouldn't be any drama ever. That's why I think it's so stupid when there's drama in call. I hate it because people act like this is a company and they're going to be here for 50, 60, 80 years. It doesn't work that way, but check your ego at the door, especially if you're a grown ass man or an adult. Learn to respect people, appreciate people. Everybody that ever stabbed me in the back that I helped make a star in JTV, shame on you. Shame on you for not fucking appreciating and listening to other people that lied, or being in your fucking feelings because I told you something that you didn't like that was true. Shame on you. And shame on everybody that backstab and hurt all you guys listening right now and mess with CJ Mondo. Shame on you for the bullshit when we should appreciate this fucking place. Stop playing with me, man. You know? So to me, calm means a lot. It means everything. I mean, and that's why I put so much effort into it. You know, people wonder for years, why do you work so hard on it? You know, and you're not getting paid for it, but you work so hard. You know, now you know. What else we got?
Another question that's asked, Big John Bundy asked, do you think you would come out of retirement to face Nick Cayenne? That's a good question.
Um, no, I don't want to come out of retirement and face Nick Cayenne because he's been acting like a little bitch lately. And if I came out of retirement, it'd probably take me 3, 4 moves to decimate his little ass and beat the shit out of him all over the backstage area. And I wouldn't even pin him. I'll just leave him laying there in a pool of his own blood. Um, if in 1 year from now, Nick Cayenne can prove to me that he's a man and he knows what I mean by that, maybe. Maybe. We'll see. Would I like to work with him? Yes. I think Nick Cayenne is an amazing talent and amazing on the mic as a promo and an amazing commentator. I'll definitely say that. What do we got now? I appreciate all of y'all being here, by the way, supporting, showing love, and just exploring. All right, so we got another question, huh? From Danny.
Kevin, do you prefer PvP or AI League?
Well, like I said earlier, I love all of call. There's people who feel that way. There's some people prefer PvP, some prefer AI leagues, and they have their opinion about it. They speak negative about it. I prefer to speak positive about it. I think all of call is great, whether leagues or PvP. I like it all, and the reason why is because PvP is unpredictable because you don't know who's going to win most of the time, and in AI leagues, you know, it's scripted, but it looks better because in AI leagues, you get an advantage that you don't get in PvP. In PvP, you can't take the camera wherever you want. The genius is that 2K hasn't made it that way yet. You know what I mean? So the camera can't go wherever you want in PvP. But in AI leagues, you could put the camera anywhere you want and really make it a cinematic event. So I think both are amazing. If I had to answer your question and say which one do I personally prefer, for me it's going to be PvP. And the reason why is because there's more hustle out of it. Because in a PvP environment, you're seeing player versus player going at it, and it's unpredictable. Don't know what to expect, and you have two real individuals that exist in real time competing against each other, as opposed to AI leagues that are usually just created characters or downloaded characters off of CC. And personally, if you download characters off of CC or make your own, I don't have a problem with none of that neither. I support you. I'm okay with that. I'm in favor of doing that so long as you use it for positive. So I'm not hating on any of it. I like all of it, but I prefer PvP.
Big John Bundy asks, what would be your goal in call or real life?
Um, well, my goal in call and life, both at this point would be to just get my family together, be happy, be an old man that is healthy and alive, and to leave a legacy behind and call that I can be proud of. Something that people could go, yo, that Kevin Impact guy, man, he was a preacher and he made a difference and he did a lot for a lot of people. That's how I would like to be remembered. I don't want to be remembered as a toxic, evil, manipulative bastard because someone said to someone else that that's the truth. You know what I mean? That's not what I want to be remembered for. So that is what I want to be remembered for. Just, you know, or that's the goal that I'm trying to achieve, to answer the question, to be remembered for my legacy as Kevin Impact, the wrestler, and as Kevin Impact, the owner of JTV that produced the best shows he could and influence other people in call. Because when we talk about call, even JTV, right? Even someone who's never going to join JTV that's in another promotion might watch JTV and see Kevin Impact and see my work and go, holy shit, I'm inspired by that. And then take that work somewhere else. Maybe they'll start their own promotion, or maybe they'll wrestle somewhere and they might want to try to be like Kevin Impact, some young buck 20 years from now. You never know. Shout out to you, kid, whoever you are in the future. So respects for that. What else we got?
Next question is by the Maverick JTV Superstar. He said, the question everyone wants to know, when is Luke Welsh coming back to JTV with the dance?
Well, it's a question that's been asked time and time again. For those of you that don't know on this channel who Luke Welsh is, it's a reference to my small dog who's a Chihuahua, who acquired the name Luke Welsh after some years. Like he's some big mafioso killer or whatnot, you know. But to be honest with you, Maverick, part of the reason I took him off the show is because certain individuals that were on our roster, they got a little weird. You know what I mean? They started trying to steal pictures and stuff like that. And that's the reason I don't show myself no more or put pictures up and stuff like that, because just people, some people in call, they just get really weird. And I'm not someone, I don't get off on that. I don't get off on stealing people's pictures and whatnot and making photoshops. Like that to me is just weirdo behavior. I say keep it in the game. You know what I mean? No personal information, just keep it in the game. We are in the video game. Let's all keep it in the game, you know? So I wanted to take my dog off of there because it got weird. And a creative writer that I had for JTV that I had to remove because he was a piece of shit, that you know, was trying to write him into doing a lot of really dumb shit that I thought was really shitty creative. And there were shitty creatives that were written for me as well. Thank God that I took JTV back over. Jesus Christ. So I don't know. We may see him one day. We may see him pop back up one day.
You know what I mean? And he may lick his lips while he's looking into the camera. Woof, woof, motherfucker. What else we got? Pop your
Same.
questions, whatever you want. What other questions
Maverick
y'all got?
Welsh, my manager.
Can Luke Welsh be your manager? No, you got some work to do first, but you need to get your ass to the gym. You need to get your ass back to TV. You got to start getting hot again. You got to start taking back territory in JTV. I don't know what's going to happen with your little freak show. And you need to just prove yourself. You need to just start making an impact once again, if you will. That should be your focus, Maverick, in wrestling and call. Whatever you're in, whether JTV or whatever Efed or call PvP show, whatever. That should be your focus for next year, to be a beast, to be a monster. Uh-oh, Colin Klein's here.
Yep. Hardcore champions here. He asked Luke Welsh for Hall of Fame ?
I think it's possible. It's a silly question, but it's a question that I'm taking serious. I'm gonna say something sad, and I'm gonna say something that I'm not ready for. But you know, him and my cat are getting old, and I had a hard time this year because my cat had a tumor. For those of you that don't know, she had a big tumor, and I had to spend about $5,000 to get her surgery. And this was going back in August. Some people didn't know that. I had a hard time. I had a hard time this year. I really did, and I was able to save my cat's life. You know, after the $5,000 surgery, but she's still up there in age, and he's getting up there in age, and I do believe there's possibilities of him going into our Hall of Fame probably after he passes. I know that's sad and it hurts me saying that, but I could see that happening sometime after he passes. I'm not really ready for my pets to go away. They mean a lot to me. So I'm going to have a hard time. But speaking of Hall of Fame, there's potential for me to put my brother in the Hall of Fame who passed away this year. He wrestled in JTV under the name of Player One. Those archives are not on YouTube, but they are on VHS cassettes that I have. And I do plan to slowly start releasing them sometime this year now that I have more free time. And not Ultimate Showdown, Snow Showdown is ready to go. So we have more free time. So there's potential. We're getting ready to start releasing those VHS tapes that you guys want to see. You get to see young Kevin Impact, young No Kills, young Flash, young Andy Newsom, and all them. So get ready for that, for the JTV community and everybody else on this channel, this page that does not know about JTV, that's getting to learn about the community. So that's that. All right. So so this is someone, you forgot to put the dots after each letter. It looks like you're saying sim, which always used to make me laugh back then. But I don't want to say much about that guy. It's personal. Um, he's you know we could probably move on to the next question. What other questions you guys got? Take advantage. Don't be asking no dumb shit. Ask something interesting. Oh man.
Big John Bunny just asked a good question. Can you give us a history of JTV wrestling and acknowledge us?
He asked a very, very big question. I was hoping for something smaller. Um, a history of JTV wrestling, and I mean, I started it. I was the first guy in JTV. It was VHS tapes. It transitioned to community creations, and like I said, SVR 2010, because THQ introduced Story Designer, and I was very excited by that feature. One of the greatest features that needs to come back. I think Nick Kai Ken talked about that earlier in the comments. Someone said it, and I agree with them that it needs to come back. And with the Story Designer, I got the opportunity to. It was different because before Story Designer, we're doing scenes on the game and stuff like that backstage and all, and wrestling matches.
But now with Story Designer, you can actually make segments and scenes and everything, with limitations, of course, but it was still dope because it was innovative. It was something compelling, something new. So I got that opportunity to do that. And I got to meet a lot of people like Lowrider, Corey Flash, um, Ray Geddes, back in the day, VIP, who is one of my legends in JTV. Um, and through that process, I continue, I met Mr. Amazing like 2 years later or so in 2012. And I kept meeting people. And it was interesting for me because JTV used to be a EFED. That's the interesting thing about it. I just never called it that. We never called it EFED or nothing like that. Never used those terms, you know. But it really kind of was an EFED because it was simulated. And it was simulated for many, many years. And then in 2010, it was still simulated. It stood simulated for quite some time. But the only difference about 2010 is that basically when you go online, we didn't we didn't sign anyone from online. Everyone that we had was characters that I made. The Phantom, the Pen, the Corpse, Andy Newsom, Flash, Team America, which became the Newsom Club, which was Bullet Time and Thomas Viper. Uh, these are characters that I made. Mr. Submission or the professional Mr. Submission. These are characters that I had came up with, gimmicks, if you will, that I had, along with my character Kevin Impact and the No Kills No Damage guy and another guy by the name of King Size King Leo and Chris Saber, some of my neighbors back in the day. So it was four of us, every weekend, VHS and then CC. And then it never occurred to me, hey, I could bring someone in to JTV from the online world. I never thought about that until the first person came knocking on the door, and that was Lowrider. So I was the first man in JTV wrestling. Lowrider was the first man from the from the online world that came into JTV, came knocking on the door and said, "Hey, I want to join, and I don't just want to join. I want to wrestle you in the ring." And I'm like, "What the hell? What the hell is he talking about?" I never thought of that. I never thought of someone from the online world challenging me to a match and joining my promotion. That I'm like, "Yo, that blew my mind." I'm like, "Holy shit, what a concept?" So I just kept saying no to him. I kept ignoring his ass for a couple of weeks. And the bastard just kept insisting that we step in the ring. And I didn't want to wrestle him because I thought, I don't want to wrestle the guy. And then he turns out to be some sort of a noob online spammer. And then he gets a win over me. And then he gets to brag about it on the internet. I didn't want to give him the satisfaction. But, he kept asking and asking and asking. And I just thought, screw it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for it. We got in the ring. He beat the shit out of me, and when he beat me, he didn't brag. He showed me respect, and I showed him respect. And he said he wanted to join, and I gave him respect, and I let him join. And from there, it just kept going. Which I think Corey Flash was the first guy who joined. He may have been the second one. My timelines may be off, but it was something of the sorts. Corey Flash, Lowrider, the first two PvP guys. And then we had NXT tournaments at the time because we didn't become JTV Wrestling until 2012. Before 2012, we were just JTV WWE. We were a WWE show. So we had WWE characters and JTV characters combined. We used WWE arenas because you have to remember, we didn't have create an arena like that until WWE 12. You know what I mean? WWE 12 introduced create a stage. No, it was create a, what was it? It was like create a ring or something like that. You couldn't edit the entrance yet, but you can edit the ring. And I was excited. I'm like, holy shit, this is great. Progress. These lazy bastards are actually trying. So um by WWE 13, you guys already know that we got full customization for arena. And so I took advantage of that. And they were opportunities for something of creating an arena, because going back to my era, my time, my second generation, because my first generation was WWF Warzone. That was my rookie year when I started. And my second game was WWF Attitude on the PS1. In WWF Attitude, you can create an arena because you can customize the stage, the lighting, and you can customize the ring. So you can create an arena. You can't create it how you want to, but you can change the arena. So that was dope. That was the beginning. You know what I mean? And Call started in the WWF Warzone where you could create your wrestler for the first time. You know what I mean? That was the first game that featured it, and I made my guy back then, and I was young. I was a rookie kid, you know? And I became a beast because think of the locker room I got to work with in that game. Ahmed Johnson, Farouk, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Brett and Owen, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Mankind, Mick Foley, all his three faces, Ken Shamrock, Goldust, British Bulldog. The list goes on and on. So I'm working with Hall of Famers. So ain't no wonder Kevin Impact is going to be someone that sounds like a legend and acts like it, because those are the guys that were in my dressing room that I was working with in that game in that era. So fast forward to everything else, you know, in 2012. No, I'm lying to you. Before 2012, we had a problem that happened in JTV. What happened is that no, it was in 2012. In 2012, WWE 12, someone at THQ came up with this brilliant concept, and God bless the fucking idiots who did so. They came up with this amazing concept that the DLC content that came out for that game, you couldn't use it on Story Designer and upload it to Community Creation. You just couldn't do that, because if you did that, it would get flagged to where the content, it just won't upload. So my content became corrupted because of that, because I was using DLC content. And if you guys remember, at that time, we was getting the Nexus and all that shit, and we was getting really good DLC content, really good stuff that I wanted to use, Macho Man and everything. So I got hot about that. So I did a JTV show that I couldn't upload, and it pissed me off so damn much that I actually retired JTV. I retired. I was done. I retired and I was done. In 2012, I retired. I didn't just retire from in-ring competition. I retired as a content creator, if you will. And then I had meetings with people. I talked to people. Hey, you can't retire. You can't do this. You can't just walk away. They convinced me. And then I started thinking to myself, before that in SVR 11, I used to get a lot of shit from the communities. People that would attack JTV and say, oh, how innovative. He takes Jake the Snake Roberts and changes the colors to his tights. How compelling. He takes Evan Bourne and The Miz and he changed the colors to their tights. That's real good shit, And they attacked me because they were doing the hard work. They were making real calls in community creations and on shows that were detailed. And they were making shows with just cause, no in-game people. So that was used against me, that we was using in-game people. So I said, hey, I believe that I can prove this world wrong. I believe I can go full-blown call and succeed. But I wasn't sure if I can do it. I wasn't sure. I'm like, would people really tune in? Would people really give a shit about JTV if it wasn't John Cena and The Rock and Triple H and DX and all this other stuff, these in-game characters, The Undertaker? Would people give a shit? Could I take JTV and make it into a commodity with Corey Flash and Lowrider and Kevin Impact and Flash and all these guys? Can I do that? Is it possible? I took a chance and it paid off. From Mega Rush to every other JTV show that I made, it worked out. People tuned in and we garnered interest and supporters and all kinds of stuff, and people knew about us, and now we're just worldwide, and I took a chance with that. It paid off and I just kept going from there. It paid off, and I got to meet a lot of different people along the way, and that got my back and support me and keep me going with JTV. Love my roster that I have now, and it's been a long road. It's been a very long road since the PlayStation 1. Went through different eras on N64 and you name it. You know what I mean? Been all over the place. And that's why my wrestling psychology is all the way up there because it's just been years of experience. If it seems like I know what I'm doing and I'm an expert, it's only because of the years that I've put into this. You know, I've been around a long, long time. It's almost scary to think about, and it worries me because I've been around so long that I know that clock is ticking. It's almost scary to think about, but again, it goes back to what I said about leaving a good legacy behind. You know, and every if you're listening to me right now, you know, don't just tell yourself this, tell others in call as well to do positive things. The clock is ticking for all of us. Just enjoy CAW as much as you can and don't look for drama. But if there's something going on that you need to expose it. Get it out there. I've done it time and time again, you know? So that's the shortest version of a JTV history lesson that I can give. So I don't go around the world in great detail. What else do you guys have?
Big John Bundy asked, could we see next year on a JTV show, a NWA show like you did for ECW and WCW?
That's an excellent question. I love that question. That's my favorite question that was asked today. If I was going to do an NWA show, I would have to talk to some of you NWA fans. It would probably be difficult for me. I would have to bring in people that are expert with the NWA and to see who's available that we could bring in because everybody's old. NWA, I mean, it goes back, territory days. So maybe some of the new people that are in NWA, there could be a collaboration, bring some of them in, some AI work to have them come to life and stuff like that. And, something along those lines. I think with ECW and WCW, us bringing them back, I think we opened the door to shows like that. I don't know about an NWA show. I'm going to be completely honest because I don't want to bullshit nobody. But I will instead say this. There's conversations and potential for us to do an SVR tribute show, which I think would be really, really dope for all the kids from the Ruthless Aggression era, which is close to some of the younger guys that I have on the roster. ECW and WCW is my era, but what about some of these other kids' era? So an SVR era event, I think, would be just emotional for some of y'all. It would be massive because of all the songs we can bring back from their soundtrack and just all the people that we can bring in from the SVR era, Ruthless Aggression, and just to have that moment, and to incorporate Call with that era. I think that could be cool. And I can only imagine how the arena would look. So there's potential for an SVR show. I don't know if it's going to be next Christmas. I don't know yet. Honestly, the last 3 Christmases has taken a toll on me because these Christmas shows that we've been doing have been very difficult for me. So I might take it easy for next season. I might just have like a recap show showing the best matches of JTV or something like that is what I mentioned. But a SmackDown versus Raw show could be in the works. And if it happens and if we start talking about it, I ask all of you guys to give me your support, advice, opinions, and to help me create it and bring it to life. If you guys can do that, then we will bring that to life. And if you want an NWA show, you got to show me. I need to see that support. I need to see those comments. I need to see that constant feedback of we want that NWA show. And if I see enough of that, then I'm going to have no choice. You're going to force me to do it. You know what I mean? Which I think I could probably do a good job with it. I think we could get some old filters and go retro, and I think it'd be real badass. But I'm not an expert, and I'm not going to pretend that I am with NWA. But I think I could do a good job if we come together. I do my research, and if you guys truly want it. So there's your answer.
Also, Big John Bundy asked, could Dan beat Kevin Impact on JTV if Kevin Impact came out of retirement?
Well, I got an opportunity to beat the shit out of Dan last time I was in the ring with him, so I doubt that very much. I think I'll probably just lose a leg because I put my foot up Dan Rapture's ass, and I'll just call it a day. You know.
I wonder if Dan's got...
My bad. You were saying?
I wonder if questions for Kevin Impact or anybody else in the chat.
Yeah, any other questions? Ask your questions while you still can. We're not going to be here forever. This has been like probably the biggest episode so far, as you guys have seen. CJ Mondo definitely got big plans for this podcast. It's a beautiful thing, man. We sound good. Look at the nice background that he got for y'all and everything. So he's having fun with this. He's definitely gonna take advantage of this, and he's gonna expand this, and it's a positive thing. So I'm excited. You know. So if y'all got some questions, pop them questions up, and we'll see. All right, we got a question right here, right? What can we expect December 24th for JTV show, last show of the year of 2025? Well, for the WCW show, you can expect surprises for sure. A lot of great, excellent wrestling matches, and a night of magic for sure. It's definitely going to be emotional. It's definitely going to be fun. I think every emotion is going to be felt. You're going to be happy. You're going to be mad. You're going to be sad. You're probably going to cry. You're probably going to think of your family. You know, like many different things that's going to come out of it. I think you guys are going to be really amazed with a lot of the new technologies that we're using for the WCW show on the 24th. And pound for pound is probably going to be one of the greatest JTV presented shows that we ever had. That's non-JTV wrestling and actually just World Championship wrestling. So I would really invite you guys to come join us, check it out, get you some good food, some snacks, something to drink, get some family, and just know that you're going to watch something really special. But my favorite thing about it is that every year a lot of people don't have family, and when they watch JTV they feel like that's their family, and to me that's special. So if you don't have family this Christmas Eve, you can spend it with JTV and you can enjoy it, you know, and connect with the JTV fans and with the JTV talent in the comments, and it's always a good time. Come on down.
Mark Bannon asked, who is your top 5 JTV wrestlers of all time?
My top 5 JTV wrestlers of all time. That is a very y'all been asking me some tough questions here today, but I like it, you know. Top 5 wrestlers of all time. Jeez, I almost don't want to answer, you know what I mean? Because it seems like such a personal question. It almost feels intrusive. But if I have to start name dropping individuals who can be nominated among top 5 JTV wrestlers of all time, if we're going off, I mean, if we're going off for, you know, being a great wrestler is one thing. If we're going off of top stars is one thing, you know. So top 5 JTV wrestlers of all time. I mean, I'm gonna go off for great wrestlers. Um, I'm gonna pick you as one of them, Mark, as a freestyle shooter type of wrestler, really good wrestler. Um, Mr. Amazing is another really good, excellent technical wrestler that moves really good in the ring. Um, Great wrestlers. There's a lot of them in JTV. I keep going back to that, and I have to think. So I got two with Mr. Amazing, and I got Mark Bennon, and there's so many. It almost feels like I need top 10. Like top 5 wouldn't be enough, but um, and there's been so many. Not just that there's so many on the roster right now, but there's even been people in the past that have been, you know, talented like that. So it's a very difficult question to answer, I believe. But I'm definitely sticking with Mark Bennett and Mr. Amazing as two of them. Um, I'm gonna say um, great wrestlers, professional wrestlers. I might have. I mean, I don't want to say Shendon, but I'm gonna say Shendon, Mark Bennett. I'm gonna say Shendon, Mark Bennett, Mr. Amazing, um, probably Colin Klein, and probably probably out of Amber Rocks or Dan Rapture, one of those two. Out of the top 5 that I see currently on the roster that are talented like that. All right, so I see a question that's up, so I'm gonna go ahead and answer this. Um, what is my favorite pro wrestling match or moment of all time, including Smoky Mountain Wrestling, ECW, WWF, WCW, or NWA? Well, my favorite Smoky Mountain moment is New Jack's promo, his infamous OJ Simpson promo, in which he said one or two less to worry about that Jim Cornette told him about. That's my favorite Smoky Mountain moment, even though they've had a lot of good moments up there, but that's my personal favorite. My favorite ECW moment, like I said, is One Night Stand '05. My favorite WWF moment, my favorite WWF moment. Hmm, that's a very good question. Favorite WWF moment. Probably when Stone Cold Steve Austin came back in '01 from his neck surgery. That was at I didn't see it on pay-per-view. I know he came back at Backlash or something like that. I saw him the next night on Raw. So my favorite WWF moment is Austin coming back from neck surgery in 2001 on WWF Raw. Favorite WCW moment. Favorite WCW moment might be um Probably the debut of the NWO would be my favorite WCW moment. It could be that, or it can be when Sting came out with the Crow character. But I'm gonna say NWO. Uh, I don't have a favorite NWA moment, but I do respect the NWA. I'm glad that the NWA is still around. I was very happy when I found out they was coming back with NWA Power. I thought that going to YouTube was very smart. I thought that the cocaine incident, the fake cocaine incident that happened some time back, and how people blew it out of proportions, I just think it's very, very childish. I think that all the fans that push that and try to cancel people for that are a bunch of pussies, and they're a bunch of cowards. I think that speaking about drugs and grown man shit in professional wrestling today should be normalized, like it was when that cherry was popped back in the 80s and steroids went public and all this other stuff with Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan and, you know, Dr. Saharian and superstar Billy Graham and all this shit. Like the cherry on wrestling being PG was popped years ago. And I hate that fans now just want to try to cancel shit like a bunch of little bitches. So that's how I feel about with NWA. Okay. Your favorite is when Harley Race lost the championship to Wildfire Tommy Rich. Oh, that's dope. I'm a big fan of Harley Race. I love Harley Race. He's a true champion, great wrestler. Carried himself excellently. Great example. I'm currently playing GM mode for 2K, and he's on my current WCW roster. So, gotta have him. Love Harley Race. Very underrated in this era is Harley Race. You know, so and of course, so is Tommy Rich. And I knew about Tommy Rich through the ECW games. You know, that's where my character got to tie up with Tommy Rich in the ECW game and Tracy Smothers and all those guys. Oh, we're getting something here. What do we got? Harley Race autograph. Look at that. And look at that championship, man. Look at that guy.
NWA World Heavyweight title by Harley Race himself. You can't beat that one.
That is dope. That is amazing. That is amazing. That's going to cost you a fortune in the future. You better hang on to that. You better hang on to that closely. Protect it with your life. Yes, sir. Keep the questions coming. You got something? You got anything? Feel free to ask whatever you want to ask me about whoever you want to ask me. I don't give a shit. We are live. I got a live microphone. Yeah, I got Kevin Impact on this damn episode. Y'all better take advantage. I see a good question right now that I should answer. Can we get this one on the screen? This is a very good question I like to address. What is my favorite wrestling video games of all time? Oh man, he made it even more fun. I thought he said video game as in one. He said video games. Okay, well, I like a lot of them. I like WWF Warzone where I started. I like WWF Attitude where I was growing more as a talent and figuring myself out. I love all of the SmackDown games on the original PlayStation. I love WWF in Your House. It was a bit of a underrated video game. I do love the games on Nintendo GameCube, like WrestleMania 18 and 19. And you know, I wasn't an Xbox guy, but anytime No Kills, No Damage loaned me his Xbox. It's one of my guys in JTV. No Kills, No Damage. That's his slogan name. When I was on Xbox, I like WrestleMania 21. You know, I like Raw 1, Raw 2. I thought were excellent games. I liked all the, you know, Here Comes the Pain and SmackDown versus Raw. You know, I like most of the games. I like all of them. to be honest with you. You know, WCW Revenge, NWO, you know, WCW versus the World, and um, WCW Nitro, WCW Thunder, ECW Hardcore Revolution, ECW Anarchy Rules, some of the Japanese wrestling games, which if you haven't tried them, you know, look them up. There's emulators on the internet that or let you play them. They're really good. Um, most of the wrestling games I like. Something that I'm gonna add is I did not like and I do not like WWE 2K15. I think 2K15 is one of the worst games they've ever dropped. I think that it was so generic and such a cash grab. I never got that game, and I don't regret that I didn't get that game. I'm pretty sure the showcase mode may have been great to some. It looked like it was good. I'm sure it was good, but I think that game is a pile of shit. And WWE 20, what is it? 2K20 gets a lot of shit because it was a broken game, and I agree it was a broken game. But to me, I don't think it was a bad game. I'm a big fan of WWE 2K20 because 2K20 had the boiler room that came back. You had all these dope ass backstage areas, all these dope ass weapons that for some particular reason these idiots took out of the game. I don't know why they did that. And the creative video feature was still good. You can move camera around and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken. So WWE 20, 2K20 is a great game. It's just a fucking broken game, you know. And you had cool arenas on there too, like the Desert Arena was amazing. We did a show on there for Kuwait that was really good. So I enjoyed a lot of WWE 20. It's just that it was a broken fucking game for sure. You know, a lot of people talk about 2K19 being a GOAT. I think it's one of the GOATs. I think the online was great. And I think 2K25 is doing pretty good. I just think it could be better. They need to expand on it in 26. Let's see what we're going to get in 26. We shall see. Any more questions?
Now, here's the question that I'm going to pop up that I'm going to ask. And this goes to Kevin Impact.
Yes, sir.
And yes, I mean all the SmackDown versus Raw series on the video game.
I have to pick one.
Yep.
If I have to pick one, it's going to be the original. And the reason it's going to be the original is because SmackDown versus Raw started it all. And I love the intro. If y'all remember, they had that generations. Much can be learned from past generations. That intro gave me goosebumps. You know what I mean? And then the music goes off. I mean, that thing was out of control. And they were teasing Cena and Orton and all this stuff and backstage area this, and it was just out of control. And story season mode and all that shit was dope. It was fun. It was compelling. So if I have to pick one of the SmackDown versus Raws, oh shit, why am I lying to you, CJ? I am a fucking liar. Am I lying? Yeah, I am lying. My favorite SmackDown versus Raw is SVR 2010, bro, because they put story designer in it. But I love the original. But I'm gonna go with SmackDown versus Raw 2010 because of the story designer being put into it. That's my personal favorite. I can't tell you the emotion that I felt when I was reading about the game. And I remember looking at the picture of John Cena face to face with someone on the story designer in the scene that you can edit yourself. And me going, holy shit, I was just blown away. And I was just like, they made this game for me. This is my game. This game was created for me. It's perfect, man. You know, because I thought they were never going to do it. I always wanted a mode like that in the game. You know, and they took it out the game. A lot of people don't play it. You know what I mean? They took it out the game, but we get this bullshit ass microtransaction my faction. You know that it doesn't really. My faction doesn't do anything for anyone. with the exception of a few unlockables that could come in handy once in a blue moon, it doesn't really do nothing for it. Last game, I put money down. I got me O1 Booker T, and I got me the Wolf Pack. I unlocked most of the Wolf Pack myself, but I needed Hollywood Hogan. So I paid to get him and Booker T because I was worried that they was going to take the Wolf pack off of it. After that, I didn't play that shit no more. There is no reason for me to play it for what? Alexa Bliss '09 attire, Seth Rollins 2013 attire. Like, I don't give a shit about none of that. I don't want none of that shit, man. You know? If I'm going to play my faction, I want to play it because I'm going to unlock characters, legends that I could put in the game, people that I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a Ray Phoenix was in my faction, I might play it since he's there now. If they had like Vizera or Gangrel or something like that in my faction, I would be grinding to get them. I would do that. No problem. I am not going to grind on the stupid ass my faction for cards that get renewed every single year. Every single year they scam the shit out of you. They got these poor kids. One kid paid like $400 to get that stupid ass rock in the game for nothing because the servers get turned off. You got to remember this, folks. And in the JTV chat, we just had found out that on I think it's March 31st, they're going to shut off 2K24 server, which makes me laugh. But you know what I'm saying? Because who the fuck do they think they are to turn these servers off? There are games that the servers stay on for years. One of my favorite games of all time is The Crew. If you never heard of The Crew, look it up. It's a great free roam game where you could drive around. The first original Crew had a world map. You could go all over the place, a bunch of different states. It's an amazing game. What an amazing concept. Something that 2K should adopt and put in their game. You know what I'm saying? Imagine being able to go back to Times Square, like Here Comes a Pain, or you know what I mean, or Shut Your Mouth. Remember those days where you could run around Times Square, jump off a fucking helicopter? What happened? Bring it back. You know what I'm saying? Make it better, expand it, make it more compelling. You know, so I think it needs to come back. So The Crew is a great game. That server was on for like 10 years and they shut it down like last year, I believe. And I'm pissed about it because I bought the game on disc and it ain't worth shit. It don't mean nothing anymore. Imagine you buying a game that don't work no more. Where's my money at? You know? So I think my faction is a big piece of shit. It's a scam. You know, it's just there to steal people's fucking money. And them shutting the servers off for the games every year, I just think it's fucking ridiculous. You know, some of the SmackDown versus Raw servers, if you guys will remember, they were up for many, many years. If I'm not mistaken, I think SmackDown versus Raw 7 server is still up. You could still play online to this day, from what I hear. Meanwhile, they came up with this thing where every year they turn the server off now. How could you do that when people have contributed so much time to CC and they've put so much money into these games? How do you answer to these fans? If you put me in front of 2K right now, you pass Kevin Impact the microphone and I question them, I'm like, where do you see the logic to turn these servers off for individuals who pay for my faction and grinding on your fucking game to get all this stuff and people that made all these great characters and community creations? Where's the respect? And now think about what they might say. You're just being negative. We don't want to answer that question. And that's usually everybody's response when you tell the truth nowadays, man. You tell the truth and it's looked at negative. They don't like it. It bothers them. So they call it negative. They say you're being negative. Fuck that. You're telling the truth. Stick to it and preach it. Any other questions? Oh, there's a question right here.
Big John Bundy asks, what was your favorite championship in Efed or real wrestling business that you love?
Well, I've seen nice championships in Efed. I think Ray Nakai makes a lot of nice looking championship titles. I've seen several from him that I like. I mean, I've seen nice titles in places like Three Dubs, and I may have seen some nice titles in some of y'all's promotion, Mondo, and uh, what is it? AHW, is it? I keep getting lost with it.
That would be
I,
Anarchy Hardcore Wrestling by Ricky
okay,
Armstrong.
okay. I've seen nice titles in his chat. Um, what other promotions I've seen? Some promotions I've seen really shitty ones that they just copy and paste, like WWE titles and whatnot, and I hate it. But I've seen nice ones. And in terms of the real life, I mean, I don't like the new TKO titles. I don't like a lot of them. I think they have good looking titles in NXT and stuff like that, but I don't like these colorful championships with a WWE logo on it. I think it's bullshit. You know, the old titles from my era are the ones that I like. The European Championship, the Hardcore Championship, the Light Heavyweight Championship, the Intercontinental Championship from the 90s and 2000s. I don't really like the new one, but the new one is not too bad. It's not too bad. It looked bad at first, but once they put the blue globe on it, it looked real good on Steiner's kid. So I give him props, even though I don't like it, but it looks better. Um, the Gold Ego Championship, the championship from 2000 that Vince McMahon gave Austin, the Smoke and Skull Championship I like, the Brahma Bull Championship title I like. I mean, the Undisputed Championship from '02 I like. Beautiful championship title. The Women's Championship from back in the day, from like the 90s and 2000s, that Ivory had, and Jacqueline, um, is my favorite. That's my favorite women's championship. Um, I'm a fan of the TNA titles. I think the TNA titles look great right now. I think there's some nice looking titles in AEW. Not all of them, but I think there's a lot there that look good. Um, I didn't like. I don't like the title, the new world title that Seth had. I don't know who has it right now. Um, but the title that Seth had, that is like the fake world heavyweight title slash WCW title slash NWA title. Um, I like the world heavyweight title that was in WCW that NWA gave him. I love the NWA championship that Mondo put up that he showed earlier with Harley Race. But I don't like a lot of the newer titles that are in the WWE. So that's that.
Now, my question I'm going to ask you: what was your favorite wrestling pay per view of all time? That could be ECW, WWF.
That I watched, or in general. I guess that's
That you
the same question.
watched or actually got to go to a live event, like real live.
Well, I did go to a pay per view. I was at the first AEW in Vegas. Um, I wouldn't say that that's my favorite pay per view of all time, even though it was great to see Bret the Hitman Hart a second time after seeing him the first time in Barclays Center with Corey Flash and him getting attacked by the white Bob Marley. And me coming back from the bathroom and just being drunk as shit. And I remember the wrestling ring was there, and when the guy slid in the ring, I thought Brett was wrestling again, because common sense told you there's a wrestling ring. So when the guy slid in the ring, I came back. I asked Corey Flash, "Where's my beer?" And when I grabbed my beer and I'm watching this shit, I'm drinking my beer. I'm like, "Holy shit, Brett's wrestling again?" Hell no, he got attacked, by the white Bob Marley. Don't call me a racist. So that it meant a lot to me to see Brett in Barclay. It's always going to be special to me to see one of my heroes give his speech. I took his speech so serious that Corey was on his phone, because Corey Flash is a social media guy, so he's always on his phone because he's always on social media tweeting, because it's his job. He gets paid for that. But I told him, I'm like, he was smiling at me and everything, and I looked at him like I was gonna kill him. And I'm like, you better, the same way Macho Man would act about Ms. Elizabeth when one of the guys would look at Ms. Elizabeth, "Oh, don't look at her, I'll kill you." It was the same thing. I was just like, look, Brett's giving a speech, but I didn't say nothing to Corey. I just looked at him like I was gonna kill him. And when Corey looked at me, and I'm like, Brett's talking, and he chuckled, and then when he looked at me, he was like, holy shit, this guy's serious. So he put his phone away, and we watched Bret Hart's induction before he got attacked and all that other stuff, which was his second one, you know what I mean? Because the Hart Foundation was going in, which was pretty cool because when the Hart Foundation's theme song played, I want y'all to know that I was making my entrance through the crowd. So every time y'all watch that Hall of Fame and you hear that music play, just know that I'm there walking through the crowd. And I was coming back from the bathroom. But I got to see Bret the Hitman Hart second time. He came out as a surprise in Vegas, brought the AEW championship title, meant a lot to me again. It was very special to see him. And that time I was also with Corey Flash. We had a really nice time in Vegas. I recommend everyone going. You'll have a nice time there. I plan to go back because I haven't seen the Sphere. But in terms of my favorite pay-per-view event, and you guys are really gonna like this, and you're gonna love this one, Mondo. You're gonna be like, damn, that's a good one. My favorite pay-per-view event of all time that I have ever seen in wrestling was the first WrestleMania that my brother put on pay-per-view that I watched, and that was WrestleMania 17 with The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Reliant Astrodome in Houston, Texas. That's my favorite pay-per-view that I ever saw. I'm putting that down on record. So that's that.
Now, Colin asked, what is your favorite songs from the 80s?
Oh man, I mean, shit, you asking shit like that. That's a tough question. I mean, I'm not really an 80s guy. I may have been born in the late 80s, but I can't speak to the 80s. It wouldn't be fair. Your target should be more towards the 90s. You know what I mean? And if you're gonna go to the type of music that I like, I mean, I like everything. I like a little bit of everything. I like opera. I like rap. I like rock. I don't like metal too much. You know what I'm saying? But there's some good songs in metal. I don't like the screaming and shit like that. But I love some good rock and roll. I love good opera music. I love jazz. I mean, I love it all. Spanish music, I love. I mean, I'm a Spanish man, of course. You know what I mean? I love everything. And I listen to a lot of things you'd be surprised I listen to. I like NSYNC. I like Backstreet Boys, all that shit. Christina Aguilera, shit you wouldn't think I listened to. I appreciate all music. You know. What I don't like I said, is just screaming shit. And I guess maybe some country music, but I like good old country music. I could kick it with you and drink some beer, and we have a good steak, and we could listen to some good country music. As a matter of fact, one of my guys, my Legends lowrider, me and his father have actually kicked it in his truck and drunk beer and listened to country music, and it's been great. It's been amazing, and I love old Western films and whatnot. Big fan of the Twilight Zone and stuff like that, but you know, I appreciate all music that is good. I can't speak to the 80s. I can only speak to the 90s and going further. Don't like mumble rap. Count that shit out. So listen to you some Beethoven. I'll put some Beethoven on while I beat the shit out of Nick Can Dan Rapture at the same time. You know what I mean? Thanks for the plug, brother. Appreciate that.
Also, guys, that if you're seeing right now, the JTV Showdown December 24th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be 3 Pacific. So if you need a show to go watch, that'll be the show to tune in for Christmas Eve to go watch. Get your Christmas gift early.
And I'm telling y'all, you could take my word for it or not believe me or not, but you check it out, you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna love it.
Any more questions, guys? Now's the time
Y'all
to do
got
so.
y'all got any more questions? CJ's letting y'all get away with some murder here. He's giving y'all leeway, so take advantage. Any more questions you guys might have? Happy to answer them best as I can. Y'all got to take advantage. This has been the longest and biggest show. CJ doesn't normally go this on just for nobody. So I appreciate the airtime he's giving myself and us. So enjoy it.
Big John Bundy asks, will JTV Wrestling ever have a pay-per-view like ECW One Night Stand? I'd love to see that one.
Um, um, we kind of already did. You know, the last two Christmases we brought back ECW, and it really was like one night stand. But I mean, it was better than one night stand because when we do them, we overflow it with talent. You know, and when they do it, they'll give you. You know, I'm not gonna act like one night stand and all that wasn't good. I mean, we got Lance Storm and all kinds of shit. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit before he passed away, and Eddie passed away. We got a lot of good things. You know what I mean? So we've already done them. You just got to look them up. You got to go on the channel and watch the last two ECW shows. I recommend the last one. The last one was really good because the last one we had a custom arena which looks dope, and we were in New York in the Garden, and the one before that was in the ECW arena. So in Hammerstein Ballroom, I believe. So I recommend them. I think you would love them very much. Get you some snacks and something to drink, some food, and check them out on the channel. If you like the stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Any more
I will.
questions? Yes, sir.
JTV, you don't want to miss it. You definitely want to be there.
There's going to be a lot of things you're not going to want to miss next year, neither. We're looking to bring some fire.
I've
Turn the
even
heat
heard Impact got his autographed by Ric Flair, Harley Race, and Shane Douglas.
up. 3 individuals who I respect very, very much and will always hold in high regards. Any more questions from anyone?
Minutes, guys. So you better
I
make
think
this
we're
3
getting
hours.
ready. We've been on the air for 3 hours. We're probably getting ready to wrap this shit up in a little bit. I normally run this long when I'm do City of Impact. I think 3 hours is good time. So y'all want to take advantage. We're probably at the end here. So let us know. And if there's something you want to see in JTV, you can let me know. You can ask me, or you could just tell me whatever you want. In the meantime, I do want to appreciate the opportunity for being able to be put on this show. It means a lot to me. I'm always going to cherish it. And I appreciate that all of y'all tuned in and was here for it to enjoy this energy and this experience. I do hope that next year things will be better for you. I do hope that next year is going to be better for everybody. And I hope that things just continue getting better and that we'll be happy. I do see the question. I didn't watch the fight. I saw the knockout. I think that Joshua is very strong. He's a good looking athlete. I don't know much of him. I think Jake Paul is a joke. I think he's comedy to boxing. I think boxing is not what it used to be. Um, gone in the day of Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali, all these other guys that paved the way, and some of my Spanish guys, the lower class guys, like Oscar de la Hoya and Tito Trinidad, and I can only give so much respect to Floyd Mayweather because I think that he's kind of doing what Jake Paul did. But boxing used to be really special, and it just feels like it's just clout chasing now. So I don't know. I didn't watch the fight. I have no plans to. I don't want to watch Mike Tyson versus, I think, Floyd Mayweather fighting. I'm trying to avoid all that. The knockout that Jake Paul got, I saw it. I seen him getting his jaw wired shut. Pictures of it and whatnot in the hospital with his other brother Logan next to him. I mean, I'm not really sure what to say, to be honest. It's just one of those things, I guess. It's one of these things that's going on now. If you saw it, I'm sure it was a hell of a fight. I'm sure. But that knockout was crazy, though.
Big John Buddy also has a question. Big John Buddy's coming out with questions tonight. He said, "What is your advice that you would get to everyone in call community to change it for better than worse?"
Well, I mean, I said that earlier. You know what I mean? And I still stand by what I said earlier in terms of improvement. Don't enable people. If you know someone's wrong about something, call them out. Don't stay in promotions that are not gonna care for you, are not gonna take care of you, are not gonna respect you. Don't favoritize if you're a car owner or promoter. You know what I mean? Work around everyone, build everyone that you can, give opportunities to everyone that you can, because it's a promotion. I got people on my roster that I don't get along with, and I don't make it my mission to bury them. I make it my mission that if they work hard to earn it, they see success, because they earned it. It has nothing to do with how I personally feel about them. If you can't do that, you don't belong in call. You shouldn't run or operate a show because you can't do it, and if you're looking to make call better, you have to continue to speak your mind. Me speaking my mind sometimes gets me in trouble. I'm the kind of guy that I don't look for trouble. It comes to me. I'll be sitting there thinking to myself, damn, I'm about to dip these Hershey's into this cup of ice cream, while someone, comes out of nowhere and says, I hate him because I said something that was true. And that's usually how it goes for me. I don't go and just go, oh, I'm going to look for drama with CJ Mondo or something just because I'm bored. I hate that shit, So I think that, just try to be positive like that, call shit out, and don't enable anybody and don't favoritize is the best advice.
Big John Bondi also asked, and this will probably be the last question, what would you like would you like about CAW community versus real wrestling? Pros and cons.
My brain doesn't have enough left to give you pros and cons, but I'm gonna say this. I think it would be really dope if the real world wrestling community, or should I say the wrestling world, would acknowledge us. Like imagine if we became that important to where guys like Ric Flair and take what we're doing and we say serious. And I think that a stooge like Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Tony Khan and some of these people, with what we do for call, I think that if they brought us in, take us serious, like these are people that you could probably put on payroll and sponsor or have us work with them, maybe even be part of creative. I think shit like that would be cool if we can go viral like that. I think it would be great to be able to be in that type of position where they would acknowledge us and give us respect, since we are retaining the art form of professional wrestling and distributing the passion that we have for it, which does contribute to their business. It contributes to all their business. Us doing what we're doing, it contributes to MLW and NWA and every other wrestling promotion that's out there, whether indie or whatnot. You know what I mean? So I think that it'd be cool if they give us more acknowledgement.
Now, since we're at the 3-minute marker, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this hellacious talk show, and definitely want to thank Kevin Impact for coming along and spending 3 hours with us, breaking the history for the longest time on a podcast, on the talk show.
History.
And we definitely are going to bring him back. It's going to be interesting to see what JTV holds for December 24th.
I'll definitely be back. Sure.
That is the time we have left, and we will see you guys later down the road. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and most importantly, Happy New Year. We don't get a chance to talk to you from me to Kevin Impact, and cannot wait to see what 2026 holds. Thank you guys, and we will see you then.